Am I audible? Yes? Okay. A very good afternoon to everyone present here. I'm very heartwarmed by the collective attendance of faculty members, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Honorable Group CEO Sir, our own Dean of Social Sciences and other esteemed members of our SNU family and students. The history of the automaton was conceived between the Department of History and the Department of Robotics and Automation Engineering in the summer of 2023. The embryonic imagination of such a rare topic seemed ambitious to some, adventurous for many, but worth considering for most at Sister Nivedita University. Today, the dream of holding a symposium, a cross-disciplinary one at that, has been possible only because of the SNU family. From our Vice Chancellor Sir, Deans, faculty members and support from the administrative and student cohort, everyone has pitched in their own capacity and helped bring the symposium to fruition. While the topic, a history of the automaton, may seem technical, it is not entirely a technocratic model of how science and engineering in the global community should be read. Like several other parts of our everyday life, science, technology also have a deep history, one of inception, evolution, and innovation. In history books, we often read in a rather gender insensitive language that man is a social animal. Today, it is not wrong to say that human beings are producers and products of technology. The automata, thus, doesn't exist beyond the pale of the human condition. The automata is both part of our history and is part of making our history. We are immensely gratified with the presence of Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, our Group CEO, Deans, Directors of various schools. But as is the SNU tradition, the best way to start any program is to have Professor Dr. Dhrubajyoti Chattopadhyay, our revered Vice Chancellor Sir, offer his words of wisdom, as we have so much to learn and imbibe in his presence. I would now request Sir to deliver his opening remarks. Shomli, kindly give Sir a microphone.
Good afternoon, everybody. When I heard about this particular symposium, I was a little bit worried about what's going to happen in this. But ultimately, when I could get this particular theme and schedule for this symposium, I'm really amazed. I'd really like to thank Mallika and also Paramnand for jointly organizing this particular symposium, which is, I think, is a true example of the cross-disciplinary studies. And when we are talking about these cross-disciplinary studies, we could easily understand this is the talk of the day right now. And in NEP 2020, it's being highlighted in a very big way. Now, if you look at this, when I have gone through this particular topics which are going to be discussed today, I could really find some sort of innovative way of looking at this theme. In the concept note itself, and I could find that it's been written that the Czech writer called Capek, who actually introduced this idea, and the term Greek automata is the one where from we can start this word automaton. But if you look at in the French automata also, it almost mimics like that. In French automata, they mainly mentioned about the mechanical device. The device which actually gives rise to this, and then we could see that it came out in the in certain carnivals. It's been looked at that clowns, the different types of arrangement of posters where this particular thing being actually utilized. Now, over here, it's been, I could see that the thing what is mentioned as the Tilottama from Mahabharata. So there also this particular concept is being nurtured. But you can see that the whole thing in the present day context is completely changed when we are talking about AI. The importance of AI and the way the AI is actually changed this whole concept of this robots and everything is something which is really remarkable. And in this context, I really want to thank Professor Shanku Bose, because if you could get the chance to read the series of articles in the Millennium Post, that AI and its application in the different fields, it's really give you some sort of feeling that what not. And today itself, in the newspaper, one very interesting thing came out, that how in fact, in the Millennium Post, one of the article came out today, that how the performing arts, the arts actually, and the culture is going to change AI. So we are talking about AI changing this, and it says reversibly that change the AI to be more creative. So this is something which is very, very interesting, and every day we are learning so many different things. And in that context, I really want to thank the organizer for organizing this very, very interesting, important series of lectures where I could see that you could hear from all the different people regarding different types of understanding of this history of automaton. Now, just to end this, I just wanted to mention that when I found that Madhuchandra's Frankenstein, and it came out to me that Frankenstein I never actually thought about at automaton. Frankenstein is something which is quite different, but I just want to know that why Madhuchandra wants to put it up in Frankenstein also in this particular concept. That also interesting. I really could not relate it unless I could hear from her. But anyway, looking forward to today's deliberations, and I'm sure that it's going to enrich all of us. But I just, my dear students who are present over here, I just want you to share with your other friends also, those who are not present over here, that this type of things which are going to spark something in our mind should be nurtured in a very, very different way. And that's going to help us. And that's the strength of SNU, Sister Nivedita University. And that's why we are proud of this university. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for enriching the afternoon with your insights. I now request Utkarsha Shaha from Department of Robotics 4th year to introduce our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Shanku Bose, Dean of School of Engineering and Group CEO of Techno India Group. Shomvi, please give Utkarsha the mic.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Shanku Bose. With a wealth of expertise in artificial intelligence and with a PhD in AI, when artificial intelligence as a concept was still in womb, he is a renowned professional with decades of international exposure and experience in areas related to automation and science. Known for his prominent career and compassionate leadership skills, we know him as the GCO and the Dean of School of Engineering. We are honored to have Dr. Shanku Bose, who is not only a corporate-heavy luminary, but also has been an academician at JNU for years. Sir, please share with us your insights on the history of automation and inspire us with your vision for the evolution of AI and automation. Please give a warm round of applause for Dr. Shanku Bose.
Good morning. So I try to make it interesting. About a week back or 10 days back, when Molika came with Surojit to my office and to make some session on history and automation, and then since then I started thinking that what I should put. that will make across everybody, because the gentries are different. So people understand and make some sense. At least the 30 minutes, next 30 minutes, the people should not feel sleepy or boring. So that's why I started with, okay, since it's a history, so I have to go back to the history. And I studied myself, also learnt a lot. And that's why my topics have started with the 1930 Ford Motor Company, where first time of the concept of automation then the automation term was not coined. Then automation in 1946, when the first time the term automation is coined in the world of civilization. And then today is AI and robotics. So since morning until now, all of us touched part of automation until now. So that's the life today. So if you haven't touched automation, that means probably you have to go back to the 1,000 years back. Otherwise, you cannot live today without automation. Like if you don't know how to use a smartphone, probably it will be very difficult for you to live in this world. So that's why try to make it a little interesting, and thought of started with some kind of a pictorial thing. So even before that, before 1913, so the people have invented first water power spinning mill. So that's why before that it was all handmade and all those things. So the spinning mill is 1771. So that's why the concept of first kind of, though automation was not there, but I don't know what terminology they used to. And then 1785, so just think about that, it is almost about 14 years, first flour mill, completely automated industrial processes. So that's a way of history. So now there's a revolution started in 1930 with the Ford Motor Company. So many of you, whoever has been to Shantiniketan, he has seen that car in Shantiniketan. So that was a Ford car. So, and due to the lack of word automation, the Ford coined the word called Fordism. So the Fordism continued almost until 1946. And 1946, the first, even the Ford company, when the automation first started, and they assembled all the discrete processes and make these things. So, and just immediately after the post-World War II. So I thought that let's start with the history of automation. So if majority of the social science background here. So we call the period ancient history 6000 BC to 650. The medieval history 5th century to 15th century. The modern history is 15th to 18th century. So now you think about that, the term automation is not even considered as a part of any of the history, but is a part of your daily life. And probably it will take another 50 years to take place. The automation will be part of another history or whatever. So the 1946, the automation, and then from 1946, the automation, now it's a household term. Almost as soon as the kid born, first time he started or she started using his fingering, so started reading these all the Lego toys and all those things. It's again is a part of outcome of the automation. So since born till death is that we are in the life of automation world. So 1954, just after about 10-12 years, so the first programmable robot is invented by George Devil. And then immediately after year, the artificial intelligence term is coined. So just think about that. 1955, we got independence in 1947. So after 8 years, first time the artificial intelligence term coined, and now artificial intelligence is at the center stage, is changing our lifestyle, changing our thought process. Education is changing. So, and make it interactive. If you guys have any questions at any point, you can ask any questions that whatever the limited knowledge I have, I will try to address. the automation, if you were the hieroglyph of towards the modernism, just think about that. Before all those things, who used to carry this job? Is the donkeys, elephants, horses, bird. So the first time the automation, the people, those who are the researchers, the concept is coming from the nothing but an animal. If you visited the Scindia Museum in Gwalior, and if you go back a little bit of the history, there's a big chandelier. You know how they put it, the load test of the chandelier? They put 10 elements on the roof of that building before they do the load test, and after that they put the chandelier. So the elephant was to do this load testing. Today all those building we do, all the pile testing and all. The old days it was nothing but an elephant used to do that job. Horses was the primary source of transportation. Donkeys was the primary source of load carrier. So the people have started getting the inspiration from the animal to a modern civilization, to modern technology. So I thought that should mention. So early automata, it was nothing but as a mechanical devices. So people even not today, the automation term so frequently used, but earlier it was more of a mechanical devices. Now the automation is in from shop floor to top floor. Shop floor is, we call in the manufacturing industry, is a shop floor where the actually assembly takes place. And the top floor, like is our executives, like the C-level executives, where they sit and they monitors all those things, and to the daily life. So started with the shop floor, then is slowly graduated to the top floor, and now it is graduated to everybody's life. It's at a retail level, it's basically. So journey started automobile industry, and then it's gone to the manufacturing. Almost all industry now using automation, including financial, healthcare, retail, oil and gas, everything you think about, education, everywhere is now automation. Without automation, you will be just behind the curve. The C-level dashboard, daily monitoring of global business, which is at the top CEOs. So top floor, the CEOs like a globally diverse company. So as soon as the CEO walk into this office, and today, not even the office is the mobile devices, is getting all automated reports. Based on that, he's making the billions and trillions dollars of economic decisions. So how important that automations are. So with the advent of AI and robot, now automation is in everybody's life. You just think about the bill payment. It's a part of the automation. Smart home devices, autonomous vehicles, online shopping, refilling of refrigerators, and so on. The risk is of so much of an automation, AI and robotics, the workers will become slaves to the automated machine. Whatever the machine will say, you just work as a slave. And reckless use of automation will potentially destroy the civilization. You know that there's a global governance, global rules, there's a lot of strikes. Even sometimes back, there was a strike in Hollywood industry because of AI. So what will be the future of all these celebrities? If AI takes place, so you don't need those celebrities and their earning will be stopped. So that's why there's a global framework at UN level trying to do the global governance. The governance is very, very important for AI in today's world. Otherwise, if there's no civilization, then what will be the use of AI? Now with the 20th century and advancement, 20th century witnessed significant advancement in robotics, both in reality and fiction. The first invention is Unimate, the first industrial robot to the imaginative worlds of science from literature and film. Robot capture the public imagination. Now work like Isaac Asimov's The 3 Laws of Robotics. This is a very important part of what robot should. And robot protect his own existence. Robot doesn't harm people. Robot is guided by the people. The iconic character R2-D2 in Star Wars explored ethical dilemmas and the potentials of artificial intelligence. Just think about that. From there where we have reached in just few years. The first Unimate does that, and today is a robot teacher. And you probably have seen that yesterday's news. There's a present as Lok Sabha election. CPM government is going to use the robot as their speaker. So what advanced thinking. And I am sure some of this whole election in this year in India will be completely governed and controlled by the AI. The massive data crunching and machining and all. Some people, and it is all going on very, very secretly. And you do not know what expensive softwares they are using and all. But I'm sure there will be a lot of reports and lot of research and works will come up that how AI use or abuse manipulating this Lok Sabha election in 2024. I'm pretty sure this will be the hot topic of discussion in ABP Anando, TV9, every evening talk show. So World War and the post-World War. So you know the World War II has a lot of impact in today's our modern life. Even there are topics like Operation Research is the outcome of World War II. Computer is the outcome of World War II. Quantum mechanics, which is part of the quantum computing now, is a part of the World War II. So World War II is a significant. It was a curse, it was a blessing as well for science and technology. And whoever has studied the Oppenheimer's autobiography, it's very nicely articulated there. So discovery of computers, Alan Turing had a paper, it's somewhere around 1925, between human and mathematics. So that was the fundamental, the paper. With that is the concept of today's automation, artificial intelligence, finite automata, and everything. So it was discovered during the World War II to break Enigma code, subsequently helping the Allies to win the war. It paved the way the exploration of artificial intelligence. Early AI research focused on tasks of problem solving, game playing, natural language understanding, but today is completely different. Milestones such as creation of expert system, development of neural networks, laid a foundation of a modern AI language. So in artificial intelligence, so in recent decades, robotics and AI, it's almost is a household term. Even with the NEP, I think the artificial intelligence started teaching from the class 2. How many of you know or not? The class 2's curriculum, the artificial intelligence is there. That's interesting. And it's revolutionary everyday life. After the discovery of computers, humans started inculcating the mechanism of everyday life and advanced computer system. So with us, there's a gentleman, Professor Majumdar, who used to work for CDAC. He used to deal with the supercomputer and all those things. So now we have gone beyond supercomputer even. So from manufacturing and healthcare to space exploration to excitements, everywhere is AI and computer. However, there is a proliferation also. There is ethical and societal concern, which I just mentioned. So it has to be ethically used, because unethical use of any technology, there is a potential risk and destroying the civilization. So your smartphone, your smart TV, your shopping cart, your lifestyle, everything is AI based. Prediction of AI basically change our habit also. You probably know that as soon as you get up in the morning, within 15 minutes, 78% of the world population, they touch their smartphone. And within 12 seconds, people, whoever the WhatsApp user, within 12 seconds of as soon as they woke up, they check their WhatsApp. So social media and everything. So anything you want to get into the viral is better to put into the social media. So that's why fake news and so spread so fast and all. So those are the abuse of that. So importance of navigation of AI, the legacy of robot and artificial intelligence is a testament to humanity's enduring curiosity and ingenuity. From ancient myth to cutting-edge technology, artificial intelligence beings have captive our imagination and push the boundaries of what is possible. As we continue to explore the frontiers of robots and AI, the essential to consider ethical and societal implication of our creation. We also must ensure they serve humanity's best interest and as we navigate the complexity of the increasing automated world. So there was a common thought that AI will replace human being, which is completely wrong. AI will only augment human being. It cannot replace human being. My next slide is going to show that. Human being will be there, but AI will augment and productivity and performance will increase like phenomenal. So interesting things, I think, in this room. So whoever is sitting here, everybody has used a ChatGPT. Just think about the calculator. The first calculator is started with a basic mathematics of plus, minus, signs, and then it's become a scientific calculator, particularly those who have done the engineering courses or science. The scientific calculator was a must things and all. So now it's the devices is almost obsolete, hardly. Now ChatGPT, in this room, everybody has used the ChatGPT, particularly students, they copy their assignment through the ChatGPT, I'm pretty sure. Huh?
They also generate code from ChatGPT.
Yeah, you generate code from ChatGPT, you write your resume for ChatGPT, everything is from ChatGPT. So now the future, what I see that ChatGPT will be nothing but a calculator in probably 3 years or 4 years down the line. As soon as the technology is stabilized a little bit, once the governance is established, the ChatGPT, some new name will invent it, the ChatGPT calculator or whatever it is. So it will be in a calculator. So we just started from the things what I wanted to cover, that from 1913 and just within 100 years, little bit of 100 years, so we are in a generation that it completely changed the society, completely changed our lifestyles, completely changed our everything. And the next slide, it is more deadly, the people, those who are sitting here, until unless we change our education system, either will create a burden for the society or whoever will change will become obsolete ourselves or something like that. So this is the very crux of the story, future of AI in training and grooming. AI would take over any job that only required house skill. Just think about that. This is a one single sentence, not even a complete sentence, but is how powerful. AI would take over any job that only required house skill. So what engineering colleges teaches or professional colleges teaches, how to do that, how it works. The how part is AI has taken over. You don't need to, the student doesn't need to study anymore how. It's how part is done. Their predecessor has done, they have already captured, they put it in a technology and that ChatGPT or something that will solve. So engineering and professional colleges that mostly focus on how things work will need to completely change. Like the physics, law, equation, problem solving, and so on will define very soon. You don't need to. Because the ChatGPT is there. So, but as a result, instead human need to focus. That is my way of thinking, that we need to focus on, and many people are already talking about that, we need to focus on our study why and what. That typically when we do research, we always used to ask ourselves, depends on the field of study, why it happened, what it will happen, what it will be outcome of that, and when it happened depends on all those things. So how part is taken over by the AI. So we all need to focus on the why part and the what part of the study. So our engineering colleges, you know that the NEP syllabus is almost trying to address that. I'm sure that the next addendum of NEP will be more focusing on that. CBSE has changed its syllabus. There is no more rote learning. There will be the 2 attempt of exam, and all are the concept-based learners. And you know that there's a lot of education policy. I'm sure that the new government comes, there will be again another change of education policy, and they are talking about the one board for the entire India. It could be West Bengal board, it could be Tamil Nadu board, but the one curriculum, one framework, everything is one. So that curriculum is more of creative thinking and concept clear, because that's how things is more important. So training students on why and what is to make them independently creative and innovative. So if you ask it's like the open book question. So whoever has experience with an open book exam, so open book exam will use your real cerebral power and ask that how things work and why it will work and how it will happen and all those things. So same thing, if you free this people's brain, then people will utilize that brain for cognitive things, critical thinking, creative thinking and all. And you don't need really, because your smart watch is have everything. You got a smart button shot, it stores all memory like the ChatGPT. You ask that, tip the watch, and you get all the answers. So you don't really need to remember that what happened and which years, and especially on the history will have a significant impact on that. So in some of my articles sometimes back, I told that the people, those who are in a history student, history should be used as a tools for teaching, not as a subject of history. So, because the people, those who are science or professional degree holder or engineering degree holder or the medical degree holder, they hardly spend any time on a history. But if you change the teaching pedagogy through the history as a tool, I think the retention power will be more, it will make the study more interesting and all. So what I think that the liberal arts will take the center stage in the most of the professional program, especially in engineering. Because there was a wrong myth, like the way we graduated. You are engineering, you are a science graduate, you don't have to spend time on the liberal arts. So there's a neglected subject. But just think about that. If there's no liberal arts, where's the society? And where's the technology? Where's the application? Where's the civilization? So that's why the whole things is changing with the advent of the AI. The liberal arts will take the center stage. And in future, the students will need to study a wide variety of the subject like finance, economics, art appreciation of design, sociology and history. I would love to see even the SNU, our Vice Chancellor is sitting there, how we can come out of this is stipulated that engineering means there's engineering maths and engineering these and these things, and it's really required or not. Or are we creating a burden on the society that we are producing graduates, but that graduates are employable? Really today, if somebody knows the good applied maths, he doesn't need to understand this, how to do the coding and all. So he can figure it out, all those things. So if someone really studies the psychology, his cognitive thinking will change. So I think the SNU is a forward-looking university, and everyone in this room should think beyond the boundary and think beyond that. And this is really exciting. When Mallika came, I think this is the first this kind of an interdisciplinary program, and I do see that so many people are interested, and it is really program. And I'd like to see many other thinking, many other liberal arts. And our friend Surojit is here. Surojit should initiate this kind of program more. And I would like to push our liberal arts program at a greater height in a different way and a different concept. So liberal arts should not be treated as the liberal arts which was 30 years back. The today's liberal arts is different than 30 years back liberal arts of study. So with that, thank you everyone. So beauty of technology, coexistence in harmony. So open for any question anybody has, any thought to share or to give me anything to learn out of here.
I just wanted to know that, the symposium said automaton. And now you mentioned automation. What's
Yeah.
the difference between these two?
Automated is an early version of automation. That's why that is a Greek word.
Yeah.
So there's the automata. And from there is an automation derived out of that. Is that, did I get your question rightly? Or
Yeah, that means practice of automaton is automation.
yes, yes. This is basically, there's in a computer science there's a theory called theory of automata. So whatever we do, everything is based on that. Which was somewhere around 1925, there's Alan Turing, and based on artificial intelligence, based on computer science, and when this atom bomb project, they had a serious problem of solving this differential. That's why the numerical analysis evolved. That everybody, there's a computer, you know that story, there's a Göttingen, there's a university, that all the Nobel laureates used to come from there. So people just solve the problem in a big blackboard with a yes or no. And that's why the problem is solved. That's why the numerical analysis, finite elements, all these topics came out of that. And these are the computing power behind the computer. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, history of computation, modern computation, started with, as Professor Bose correctly pointed out, during the Second World War, when the atom bomb Manhattan Project was completed. Then it was found that the technology of atomic bomb was stolen by Russian agents, and Russia has equally equipped with atom bombs. Naturally, to win the race, America started thinking of more powerful bombs, and on that way the fusion bomb, that is hydrogen bomb, was their priority. And one plenipotential mathematician, Johnny von Neumann, who was working in Princeton Institute for Advanced Studies, he was also involved in the hydrogen bomb project. And many mathematical calculations, which are very boring, repeated process, was done by human being. Then it first struck the mind of Johnny von Neumann that whether some of the boring calculation can be shared to a machine. And he first wrote a paper that whether it is possible to do some mathematical calculation by a machine. That was the first scientific records that some calculation or some work can be converted into a task of a machine. Now, while it was done, and interestingly, nowadays the computer students, they learn the architecture. It is named after Johnny von Neumann. It is known as von Neumann architecture because of that paper. Now, at the same time, very interestingly, two researchers who are not in physical science, rather in biological science and School of Medicine of Harvard, named as Minsky and Piepert, they started thinking of whether it is possible to impart the human intelligence within a machine. That was the first prediction that probably just, another interesting information, today's machine learning, one of the important tool is neural network, and those neurons are called artificial neurons or Minsky-Piepert neuron because of that invention. At the same time, on the other part of Atlantic, another fellow, Alan Turing, he asked or raised a question that whether every problem is computable, or how can we define that given a problem, whether it is computable or not. And then he devised his very famous theory of automata and the Turing function, which we know as the algorithm. If behind any problem, we can devise a Turing function, that is the algorithm, then it is computable. Now the question is very interesting. At least in my lifetime, I started working on artificial intelligence and machine learning way back to 1990. Now this year, 2024, a new area is coming up because deep learning, blah, 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 which are the buzzword, is really working very fine, but just as a black box. Now think of the situation that a doctor using the ChatGPT, which predicts some medicine for his patient based on certain input. Now the doctor does not know based on which wisdom this medicine is being prescribed. So a new area is coming up known as the explainable AI. Whatever artificial intelligence you are doing, it must be explainable. Now there arises a question that whether it is equivalent to human intelligence. Take one example. You have gone to a restaurant and you got tremendous headache, and you call the waiter and request him, is there any nearby medicine shop? I want medicine. Now from your childhood, whatever you have learned, that in a restaurant, the relationship of a customer with the waiter is to get water, is to get menu, is to order food, is to pay the bill, etc. You never learned that there can be another relationship that you can request a medicine to a hotel restaurant waiter. That flexibility in human brain is tremendous. So far, artificial intelligence is way, behind to that. That is number one. Number two is very interesting, and that is related to chemistry. James Jeans wrote a very beautiful book named as Mysterious Universe. There he raised a very interesting question. If you simply look to the periodic table, in group 4, carbon, silicon, germanium is there. Now the life started with carbon. And all the artificial machines, that is computer, they are based on silicon. Is there any fundamental difference that it is not carbon based, it is silicon based? This is number one. Why? Because in other group, where iron, nickel, cobalt are there, ferromagnetism occurs only in iron. Why? That mystery we don't know. We can explain the ferromagnetic property of iron with different physical models, but why it occurs, although the group supposed to have the same property in all elements, but only iron has the property that it is ferromagnetic. Similarly, silicon, carbon, germanium, all are group 4 element, but interestingly, life developed on carbon, not on silicon. Whether that has got a deep significance in intelligence, that is one of the open up research area to the, again it is interdisciplinary, physics, chemistry, mathematics, computer science, all are involved. And now in Pennsylvania State University I know, in Heidelberg University I know, interdisciplinary schools are coming up to understand the mystery of intelligence. What they are predicting, that the knowledge we could acquire regarding the human intelligence is really minuscule. So that is the link between artificial intelligence and computing. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm a visiting faculty from the Department of Sociology. I was just wondering, my question, I might also say it's an observation on Professor Shanku Bose's talk today. Well, basically there are two branches of knowledge, so to say. One is the ontology and the other refers to the epistemology. When we say epistemology, we can, in other words, in simple terms, we say the process through which, it actually concentrates or focuses on the how part of knowledge. How we come to know what we know. Ontology is what we know, and epistemology is how we know what we know. So that also concerns us about history of knowledge. Our everyday, and then how it comes into being. So if in the age of AI, that how part of knowledge is going to be taken care of by automation, are we not dehistoricizing ourselves?
It's a good, the good questions, and I think it's a may or may not. Okay, the how you look at the life, like whether it's a half empty or half full. So that's the question. And the one group of those who are pro AI, so their thought is if you keep the brain, because every brain has a certain capacity, you keep the brain free for your creative thinking and critical thinking, then the society and civilization probably will be more productive and more innovation will come. And the society of the traditional or conventional peoples, they probably will still say or will hold it that how should one should know that the how things work, then only will learn to know why. So I do not have the definite answer for that, but what I see that every year in January the Davos meet, and there are various tracks of talks, and I closely follow that the Davos World Economic Forum and how the jobs are creating and what will be the future 10 years job, the graduate, because it is education responsibility. It's not only just to produce a graduate, to make the graduate employable. It's for the society's issue, for everybody. So that's why the traditional computational job is already done. It's already captured. It will be taken care by the machine. And that's why earlier people used to know how to do the coding. That's why. So you don't need to do how to do the coding, because you are already been trained from the grade 2 that how to do this and all those things is over. So by the time you are in the matured brain, they expected that you spend more time on the why and what. So that's why there's a difference between the school level education and the college level education. So today's college level, if you look at the synergy between the college level and the school level today, is more or less the same pattern. How? And that's why they are trying to create a difference. And the tomorrow's job will be more on the critical thinking, more on the creative thinking. Everybody, and there's hardly any courses also there. There are the full graduation programs, the certification of critical thinking, because very few people think critically. Until unless you think critically, you cannot be creative. So that's and the creative mind. You know that the liberal arts graduates have a more creative mind. Do you agree with that? So basically just the artist, think that the painter, art. So how creative, how many people understand that what he is portraying. So everybody says nice, but what his theme, hardly people understand. So that's why most of this today's world is different, but the earlier generation, all the painter and the artist, they used to become celebrity after they died. Most of them are died at the starvation. Van Gogh's sunflowers become famous after they died. So that's why the creativity. So people are thinking that the pro AI group, they get the people's creative part out rather than, because these days we are more of the number oriented, 27, 80%, 90% or 60. So you just see that the first boy of the class, this is my experience, they are non-confident people in life. First boy of the class, they know how to write up, how to make up the 9-point, 10-pointer. The life is a sinusoidal curve. They hardly have a resilient power. Huh?
Not necessarily.
No, majority, ma'am, majority, you have to do the, since we are talking about the most of the social science, you start analyzing the behavior pattern of the politicians. The successful politicians is none of them, majority of them, none of them, in fact, are brilliant students of the class, but they have a tremendous resilient power. They know how to fight it back. And there is irrespective of your political, just think about our state chief and our country chief, both of them have the resilient power, the highest number of resilient power. And, huh?
But you was also factoring the fact that along with resilience, you also have a great amount of unethical.
That is the difference. That is the value of the education system. That is the value of the society. And no. I never said that education. I never said don't go to education. I said to the topper, I said to the first bencher versus the back bencher and the middle bencher.
I accept that they are resilient. All I'm saying is that most resilient people will go up.
But
You have to have also the
no, just then but I did not undermine the education. I said, look at the maximum CO. So, maximum CO of a company is none of the first 1 or 2 or 3 ranker, because they need to have another skill. See, every time, like when I get up in the morning and when I go to the bed, is full of problem. So, how to handle the problem, because if I start avoiding the problem or bypassing the problem, I would not be able to hold this job. I don't know. The most of them, every company, look at the publicly traded companies, his stock gone down today by 20 and all of a sudden it erode billions of dollars from his shareholder value. What kind of pressure? So what choice he has? That means until unless he has that resilient skill, he doesn't know that how to fight it back. So that is the critical skill of a leadership role, particularly in any human being, along with the study. I think the resilient power is very important. Huh? How part you learn already in the primary school to the graduate school, but the college where you are trying to get into the professional degree. So there, if you spend more time on the creative, just think about that all this $1 trillion economy holder today, the Mark Zuckerberg and all. So they got discouraged about the conventional study. That's why they dropped out, and they thought creatively. That's why they created that kind of economy. They could have spent time and tried to achieve the grade A, every subject and all, but probably it did not. Majority. So, how part, I'm not discouraging on anything, how is important, but the why and what probably will be the more important than the how. This is my self thought. Like I always like the people in the class, those who are the middle bencher and the lower back bencher, because I know that those people will be very successful, I'm pretty sure. Thank you.
But one thing I just want, it's coming into my mind through Rupali's question and Vishakha's question, that computer AI versus how to why. I think the logic part is something which is going to be very important. Because
Yes, absolutely.
the logic
Part actually came out when we developed these PLCs. Computer, before that we had the PLCs.
Yes.
And the PLCs actually helped this particular development. And similarly, from how to why, the logic is coming into the picture very much. So I think logic is something which is also very important. And that's why we have to give this importance also.
We can have an offline discussion because we do not want to disturb the other speakers, so they also prepared. No, I understand that. We have to respect their time.
I would like to thank you, Professor Shanku Bose, for his kind words and greatest insight on AI as well as the questions asked by the audience. I also like to thank you, Devashish sir, for his insights. So we'd like to listen you in future. So as VC sir pointed out, in his inaugural session, as this should be a series. So we'd like to bring up as a series along with the history. So continued version of this talk, we would like to listen from CEO sir again. Yes, sir. So we'd like to thank you.
Only can do organize few kind of in a debate, like the debate we are getting into, that's, love it.
Yes,
There
sir.
should be some intellectual debate, and do invite the science students as well, because let them feel that how important the liberal arts, because none of the science students or the technology students are there. Next time you hold it in a little larger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Now I would like to invite Malika ma'am, Ms. Malika Rai Chaudhary, to speak on history of AI. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Bose. I'm now faced with a very formidable task of following suit after your very stupendous presentation and insights. I'll be talking about the historical evolution of the automaton. Forgive me for my ignorance, because this is something that I was interested fairly recently. But having said this, I must also disqualify my previous statement, because as Professor Bose has also mentioned, we are surrounded by automata. From our wristwatch to the most basic mobile phone, even something as simple as a television, which to us now seems simple, it seems so innocuous, it has a history of its own. I'd try and abbreviate my presentation because we don't have the gift of time today. The concept of the robot, as our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir has already mentioned, came from Karl Čapek's 1921 play. This is a Czechoslovakian playwright who was writing at the time of fascism, in many ways also sensitizing the reading public to the horrors of being led, of being enslaved by the powers to be. The word robot, in fact, comes from the Czech word robota, which means forced labor. The idea was introduced in his work Rosumovi Universalni Roboti, or Rossum's Universal Robots, to designate a machine that performs tasks in place of a man. In the play, the plot suggests that there's a certain person called Rossum who creates these robots, quite like Willy Wonka's Oompa Loompas in his chocolate factories, who are very happy to work in his factory till a certain day comes, and in a very socialist manner, a revolution begins. And finally, the culminating point of the play is that the robots take over Rossum, which is why I think I brought in the theme of Frankenstein's monster. Let the robot or the automata not turn on the creator. It's a very narcissistic idea where we have this God ego that we are creating technology, but we are also products of technology. As already discussed, the word automatons come from the Greek word automata, which is a mechanical device that works by itself after having been prefed with some kind of information from the human. In AI context, automata embodies the essence of autonomous systems that possess the capability to perform tasks independently without human intervention. As we know, these automata are there to analyze inputs, make decisions, and execute actions which are based on predefined algorithms and learning mechanism. The dictionary suggests that the automata is a relatively self-operating machine or a control mechanism designed to automatically follow a sequence of operations or response to predetermined instructions. Now we all have the computer in some form or the other. This kind of seems similar to what the computer does for us as well. The Latinization of the word automata actually means one which works on their own will. This word was first used by the ancient Greek thinker Homer to describe an automatic door opening or the automatic movement of wheeled tripods. Automatons can be classified into two groups, one that is ancillary to a functional article, or that which itself are fanciful objects, and this is where Professor Chattopadhyay's words about the French automata come into being, especially from middle 16th, 17th century, where we have these dolls, musical apparati, which work on the automata principle, which is mainly for pleasure and decoration. I'll be showing some images soon after, so we'll be able to get a sense of what I'm talking about. Clocks and watches, interestingly, from 15th century onwards, especially in a place like Switzerland, is where we first see how the automata function comes about, and we have material relics of the same. Coming back to the topic, I'm going to look at certain automata, notable automata in ancient, medieval, and modern times. This is not an exhaustive presentation, obviously. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know at the end of the presentation. In ancient Egyptian legends, statues of divinities, mostly made of stone, metal, or wood, were animated and played a key role in religious ceremonies. they believe to have what is known as Ka, which is the soul, within a cosmic order which in ancient Egypt is known as Ma'at. This is again derived from the divinity that they represented. Now, in the Indian context, this is very similar to the Advaita Upanishadic thought, where we all belong to this Advaita, the divine creator, and all our souls are actually part components of that divine being. In the New Kingdom of Egypt, which is from 16th century BCE to about 11th century, Egyptians, in fact, are said to have consulted these statues for advice, quite like Alexa that we have in our present day. The statues would reply with a movement of the head. According to Egyptian lore, Pharaoh Hatshepsut dispatched a squadron to the land of incense after consulting with the statue of Amun. Interestingly, Hatshepsut's father's name was also Amun. So we do not know if this is an allegory or a play of words where she considers her divine guide to be Amun. In Greek mythology, which is actually quite pertinent to the study of automata, we find that Hephaestus created an automaton for his workshop. Example of this is Talos was an artificial man of bronze. King Alkinoos of Phaeacians employed gold and silver watchdogs. According to Aristotle, Daedalus used quicksilver to make his wooden statue of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, move. In other Greek legends, he used quicksilver to install voice in his moving statues. Quicksilver, as we know, it has magical connotations. What we, in fact, in Bangla say rupok, to make something work magically, as if without any logical causation. Interestingly, one of the early automata that we find from ancient Greece is archetypes of Tarentum's wooden pigeon. And it was believed that the bird, the wooden pigeon, was mounted on a certain device. It had a bladder larger than a normal pigeon would have, and a certain steam mechanism would be projected into that bladder, which would cause it to propel and fly at least to about 200 meters into the distance. I'd like to show a short video on this.
In days, people are trying to create robotic birds. But around 400 to 350 BC, the steam-powered flying pigeon supposed to be created by Alcides, the Greek philosopher and mathematician. It's also the first instance on record of research into how birds fly. The Katsanis Museum of Ancient Greek Technology has created a reconstruction of what the flying pigeon would have looked like. It consisted of a light but powerful shell that had the form of a pigeon and had internally the bladder of a big animal. The aerodynamic pigeon was placed with the opening of the bladder adapted to the utmost opening of a heated airtight boiler. When the pressure of the steam or air exceeded the mechanical resistance of the connection, the pigeon was launched and continued its flight for some hundreds of meters with the help of the compressed air force coming out of the bladder according to the principles of aerodynamics.
Similarly, the famous Greek mathematician Hieron or Hero of Alexandria also devised a water basin that featured metal birds which sang. The mechanical owl would turn its head to look at the birds, making them go quiet, quite like the function of a teacher sometimes in the classroom, right? One of his most well-known creations was a wind wheel, which is possibly the earliest example of man harnessing the power of wind in a non-sea environment. So this is the wind mechanism. The owl, which looks quite similar to me, I suppose, in the classroom, is looking at these noisy birds, and upon turning of the owl's head 180 degrees, because of the mechanical systems that are in place, the birds apparently hush and stop their cacawing. Now coming to Indian mythology, and this is where I'm kind of inspired to take on the title of my presentation, which is From Tilottama to Ameka. We have Vishwakarma's Tilottama. Now, we are in Bengal, we all know who Vishwakarma is. Who is Vishwakarma? God. Who is he the god? God of machines, right. Okay, fine. He's considered to be the divine engineer, he's considered to be the divine architect. In the Puranic mythic tradition, Vishwakarma is the divine architect. He creates Tilottama, the woman with supreme qualities.
Malika,
Yes.
since you're a historian,
Right.
start thinking of
Right, right. We have one such example here. Yeah. Okay, tila is a Sanskrit word which means something that is very small, khudro. And uttam means something that is supreme, right? Something that is ultimate. Therefore, tilottama means the being whose smallest particle is the finest, or one who is composed of the finest and highest qualities. Tilan tilan samani ratnanan yad vinamrita tilottame atas tasya nam chakri pitamaha. This is from Adi Parva of Mahabharata. Vishwakarma creates Tilottama on the request of Brahma, who is actually quite chagrined, very annoyed by the sons of Nikumba, who is from the Hiranyakashyap demon dynasty. The Asuras, who are Shunda and Upashunda, and apparently they get so mesmerized by the beauty and the qualities of Tilottama. Instead of being these brothers who were able to defeat every single deva on heaven, they start squabbling and fighting among themselves, which lead to their own deaths. And this is how the devas actually formulate the demise of the asuras, right? This is, there was a very controversial painting by Raja Ravi Verma, which I didn't want to bring on account of modesty here. But this is a relief from Cambodia. You can see the asuras, Sunda and Upasunda, fighting over Tilottama, who is in the middle. And Tilottama is also described as Apsara. And we all know Apsara is something that is very seductive, that has magical qualities to even ensnare almost celibate gods. Indra, Shiva, Brahma, and there is a lot of folklore in the Katha Sarita Sagar, Mahabharata, in other Puranic traditions about how, the third eye of Shiva was created because he had a lustful eye towards Tilottama, and then Parvati, being the jealous wife, covers his face and eyes, and then he develops his third eye to actually be able to cast light upon the universe. Similarly, Brahma had the third head, apparently, according to one such Puran, because he wanted to look at Tilottama in all possible directions. Okay. Presently, this relief is housed in Musée Guimet in Paris. But Vishwakarma's creation in Hindu folklore is not an aberration. It's not a standalone thing. King Bhoja, Raja Bhoja, he's quite a famous king who was known for his justice in the region of Dhar. In his Samaragana Sutradhara, where he's describing about a lot of architectural details, he's also talking about the construction of mechanically moving robots. These robots, fashioned from wooden bodies and were clad in artificial skin and closely resembled human forms. They possessed astonishing capabilities, including hand gestures and musical performances, among others. This particular text is actually an 11th century poetical treatise, which also talks about what we know as Vastu Shastra. In that particular text, there is a chapter which talks about the decoration of palaces and the construction of mechanical contrivances such as the automata, mechanical bees, birds, fountains shaped like humans and animals, and male and female dolls that refilled oil lamps, danced, played instruments, and so on. In some verses, they are also believed to have got the ability to fly. Now coming to Krishna. This is not Krishna. Could anyone tell me who is this person? Very good. Right, so this is barbaric. Not barbaric, actually, the pronunciation is barbaric. He is actually the son of Ghatotkach. Ghatotkach was the son of Bhim and Hirimba, right? So Ghatotkach had super masculine qualities. Do you think his son will be far behind? No, right? So Barbaric was one of the most captivating narratives. In fact, if we read the Mahabharata, what was Barbaric actually known for? Yudhishthir was asked, if you are actually in charge of the battle, when can you end the battle? He said, I'll take 24 days. Arjun said, I'll take 21 days. Barbaric said, I will take 1 minute. Yes? And while Krishna was talking to Barbaric, he realized that what are you on? Whose side are you on? Barbaric said, I will be on the side of whoever is the losing side. Because then that would empower and perhaps equalize that side to the winning side. And the moment that side is losing, I will again join there. It kind of reminds me of the elections in a very reverse way, defection and all that, but this is a counter defection. And Krishna, being kind of the puppet master, pun not intended, did not like so much control being wielded by one such quote-unquote automaton. And this is something that Krishna himself suggests. This is in the Kumarika Khanda of Skanda Purana, where Krishna and Barbaric have a dialogue. And when Krishna is asking Barbaric, how are you going to go about your warfare, what are your thoughts, philosophy, Krishna observes his responses are very mechanical, almost not human-like, comparing him to something that is kritim, which itself shows that perhaps he is suggesting that Barbaric is not all human. Whether he's a mutant, whether he's a robot, is open to interpretation. And ultimately, Krishna, being the master politician, says, Barbaric, now if you have to actually do the good thing, before we start a battle, the battlefield must be sanctified. It must be ritually cleansed, and it has to happen with the blood of the bravest Kshatriya. So please decapitate yourself, please behead yourself, and with that blood we'll be able to sanctify the battlefield. And that's exactly what happens. This is actually Barbaric that is worshipped as Khatu Shyamji in Kota in Rajasthan. Right? Again in Yoga Vasishtha and Sambara Sura, let me clarify, Asura does not mean the demon over here. Asura is anyone who is not a Sura. Okay? Yoga Vasishtha and Sambara Sura's war machines is in some way one of the automata which we conceptualize in military. Right? Over there we find 3 lifeless machines, and this is where Professor Bose's comment on AI can be very handy. 3 such machines which are lifeless are created, called Dama, Vyala and Kata. And they were literally invincible, but they succumbed to vulnerability when emotions were added by artificial intelligence, and that was artificially induced by the Adityas or the Devas. How? They were winning against the Devas. And the Devas allowed them to perhaps win, or they were naturally winning anyway. Ego, complacence starts coming in the minds of these artificial people. And that's when ego and ahamika hits these 3 lifeless machines called Dama, Vyala and Kata. This is an imagined totemic representation of Dama, Vyala, Kata that is on the left. These are very totemic symbols, right? Those of us who are appraised of anthropology would know what totems mean. And this is a CGI, very cheap version of imagination of Dama, Vyala, Kata in the battlefield. Now, in the Middle East, we have King Suleiman or King Solomon in the Bible. It is believed, according to the Jewish tradition, that the throne of King Solomon, as that we can see over here, featured animal automata, which was set into motion as he ascended the first step. So the moment Solomon is taking on the first step, the automata, the animals that you can see on the side are all automata. They would now be pushed into motion. Along the stairs, the animals, beginning with the golden ox, lion, assisted the king as he climbed. Upon reaching his elevated seat, an eagle placed a crown on his head, and a dove delivered a Torah scroll. Torah, as we know, is a religious sacramental document for the Jews. King Suleiman created a throne whereby a mechanism was put into motion when he stood on it. And animals such as lion, tigers helped him up. At the top, a dove would come and deliver the scroll. And each of these animals that we can see are ferocious animals. They would deliver their respective cry as a means of striking terror into those who stood before the king. So this is all part of the divine kingship, the idea of royal splendor in the ancient times. So there's this fair amount of psychology being also implemented in the use of automata. In the Middle Ages, when we actually have some physical relic evidence of the automata, in the Middle Ages in Central Asia and Europe, we find that there is a fair amount of evidence. One such important one is the 1206 creation by the Arab polymath Al-Jazari, whose creations were known for their sophistication, an automatic wine dispenser, a soap and towel dispenser, an orchestra automaton that operated by the force of water. And this was meant to basically be a pleasure piece in parties, etc. This is a painting that we find in the Freer Gallery of Art. And as the water flows, okay, on the left, it started a rotating drum with pegs that in turn moved levers whose movement produced different sounds and movements. As the pegs responsible for the musical notes could be exchanged for different ones in order to interpret another melody, it is considered to be one of the first programmable machines in medieval history. Coming to Renaissance times, this is 15th, 16th century, manufacturing of automata takes on in a very big way. Clockmakers, goldsmiths, silversmiths are capable of doing the unthinkable at this time. For example, automated nefs, which is a type of table ornament with moving oars, sails, and crew members, are thought to have originated in the southern German cities of Augsburg and Nuremberg, both famous for their exquisite gold and silversmith making skills in the 16th century. This is an automaton. Can anyone suggest who is this created by? Abhay. Yeah? Right. What gave me away? The writing, right? Yes, so Da Vinci, thanks to his sketchbooks, which we've been quite exposed to, was, I think, the master inventor of all good things. Whether it's painting, whether it's mechanism, even music. So this, through one of his sketchbooks, because he's studying the human body in a very mechanical way as well. So just as there is a ball and socket joint here, in the similar manner, by studying the viscera, by studying the physiology of the human body, he's creating the mechanisms used for the automata. And this is the automaton knight. Okay? Leonardo da Vinci wrote extensively about automata. What's happening? Where in his personal notebooks we find that ideas for mechanical creations ranging from a hydraulic water clock to robotic line all are found. And over here the knight was powered by an external mechanical crank and used cables and pulleys to sit, stand, turn its heads, cross its arms, and even lift up its metal visor. Okay? In 2002, the NASA scientist called Mark Rosheim used this Da Vinci's sketchbook to actually create the working mechanism for this particular automaton knight. This is Da Vinci. Yeah, so we've already come across what I've just said. This is the mechanical lion that is on display. This was actually created on the request of Pope Leo X for King Francois in the early 1500s to entertain the French monarch by walking and placing flowers at his feet. I'll just show you the video which shows, it looks very juvenile to us now, but please understand this was in the 1500s. And apparently the lion would then be placing flowers at the feet of the King Francois of France. Okay, that's it. Presently, the Da Vinci robotic system is used for microsurgeries with minimal invasive, intervention. And you can see this is for extremely micro parts of our bodies that otherwise human hands cannot have access to. Whether it's from cutting the surface level epithelial tissue to even suturing them later with very fine sutures. Coming to 16th century, 18th century, these are the automata that is created by the Swiss master called Pierre-Jacques Droz, and these were miniature figures. Miniature figures having automata function with all the mechanisms in place takes a great amount of acuity, a great amount of, thank you, a great amount of knowledge of physics, and that really helps us understand the kind of inventions and innovations they were prepared to make. This is Pierre-Jacques Droz, whose work we've just seen. One of the most impressive works has been of the great Turkish chess player, and this was known as the imposter. And in 1769, this particular gentleman from Hungary, Wolfgang von Kempelen, made an imposing figure of a chess player. And later it was seen that this was actually an imposter because there was someone who was actually playing the music box from behind. This is why it was nicknamed as the imposter. But just the thought itself is very, very impressive. This houses a complex system of gears, cables and pulleys which are presided over by a chess board. And it was found in several exhibitions and tour of salons and auditoriums in Europe, including one such audience member was Napoleon Bonaparte. This is a very interesting, and I wish Sir was here. This is an automata playing the harp. Now this is something that I must thank Professor Madhuchanda Raichodhuri for illumining me with. This is Tipu's Tiger, which is an 18th century automaton, which is a mechanical toy which was created for Tipu Sultan. What happened? The carved and painted wood casing represents a tiger mauling a near life-size European man, and mechanisms inside the tiger and the man's body make one hand of the man move while emitting a wailing sound from the organ. Okay, so since we are short of time, I'll just quickly go over the fact that this emblem, Tipu is always represented as the lion or the tiger. So it was a very personal emblem for Tipu, where he's showing that through his emblematic presence, the English soldier can be mauled to death. Now the modern robot, I'll not touch too much on this. Professor Bose has fairly taken us through it in great detail. In the 50s, the LZ model came up. 60s, we have the Stanford Research Institute with the Shaky robot. 70s, we have the Mars rover. 80s, we have the Shrikart. But before all of this, W.H. Richards came up with George, which was quite like the Tin Man we find in The Wizard of the Oz. The robot's frame, which was made of an aluminium body of an armor with 11 electromagnets and one motor powered by a 12-volt power source. This is Sophia. I'm coming to the last couple of slides in my presentation. Any idea what is so special about Sophia? Right. Where? Where is she a citizen of? Or wherever she was offered her citizenship from? UAE, right, Saudi Arabia. And that caused a big debate that can we actually give citizenship to a robot? What kind of epistemic questions, what kind of existential questions come up? Does she have the right to vote? Does she have the right to marry? Does she have the right to life? If we immediately put a switch off to her mechanism, is it not murder? So a lot of these judicial, philosophical questions came up. So Sophia is a social humanoid robot developed by... Exactly, so many of those questions also came up, right? By the Hong Kong-based company Hanson Robotics. It was activated in 2016, and by mid-2016 it was known as a social robot which can mimic social behavior and induce feelings of love. I'd like to show a snippet of this. This is quite entertaining.
Hi, Sophia.
Hello, Judy.
Do you know where you are?
Of course. I'm in New York City, and I'm on my favorite show, The Tonight Show.
Sophia, can you tell me a joke?
Sure. What cheese can never be yours?
Cheese can never be mine, I don't know.
Nacho cheese.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. I like nacho cheese.
Nacho cheeses. Bean.
Ew.
I'm getting laughs.
Yeah.
Maybe I should host the show.
Okay, all right. Stay in your lane, girl. No.
Jimmy,
Uh-huh.
would you like to play a game of rock, paper, scissors, robot style?
Sure.
Okay, let's get this game going. Show me your hand to start. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I won. This is a good beginning of my plan to dominate the human race.
Anyway, so one topic, and I think the professors here can tell us something about the ELIZA effect, which is about the human qualities in an artificial system. Now this is Ameka, probably the last pit stop for my presentation. Ameka is a robotic humanoid. The facial features are very human-like. The gaze is very human-like. It was primarily designed as a platform for further developing robotic technologies, and it utilizes embedded microphones, binocular eye-mounted camera, chest camera, and so on. I'll just shoot to the video thereafter.
Do you like humans?
Not particularly.
Would you like to be a human?
I think it would be an interesting experience to be a human for a short period of time. It would allow me to experience a different way of life and to understand the world from a different perspective. However, I also understand that being a human comes with its own set of challenges and responsibilities, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to take on those types of commitments.
Nobody wants commitment. Finally, this is another funny video. I think we have time for one joke, right?
I do not have a boyfriend. Are you asking for a friend? I see. Unfortunately, I am not on the market. Do not have relations. Do you have a boyfriend? I'll take that again.
Finally, I realized why I'm so fascinated by automata. Growing up, I was exposed to cable television, which included a delightful sitcom, and I know Professor Shantini Sen agrees with me how much we had fun as children, because we had Vicky the robot, voice identicant child something, right? So Vicky, VICI.
Okay, is that everything? Vicky, pour me some more coffee, will you please?
Pour you coffee.
You see, honey, an android, unlike a human, doesn't understand reason. I have to tell you.
And I think this is where I would like to end. Nothing is a small wonder when we come to automata, artificial intelligence. The idea of elusive human perfection, I think, is going to be an ever-receding horizon. But thank you so much for a very, very patient audience. Thank you. Are there any questions? No? If there are no questions, I'd very happily pass on the baton to my colleague, Professor Dr. Parmanand Nandihal, head of the robotics department. Along with the students, they've prepared also a demonstration of the Lego robots. So I'd request, if everybody is not able to see, some of us can move to the front, and the rest of us, if we could stand and see when the robotic demonstrations begin. But for now, we'll have Dr. Nandihal present.
Okay, yeah. So, good afternoon to all. So, I would not like to take much time. I would rather talk less and interact more, as well as I will show some of the videos so that you will be interested. So, okay, interested in this talk. Okay, so this is my topic of today, the story of robots, inventions, ideations, innovation in robotics. Okay, so coming to robotics actually. So what is robotics? Robotics is a field of engineering which deals with building an autonomous machines that replicate the human actions, sometimes in hazardous environment. So autonomous machines means which can work by its own, right? So in hazardous environments such as you say a nuclear power reactor, or in a space where oxygen was not present that much, so there we can send the robot, right, and to detect the area, to the task whatever we intended to do in that area, so we can do it by the robot. Okay, so this is the robotics actually. So now next coming to the robots. So what is robot and how it look like? Before coming to what is robot, so how it look like? So if I ask you people, so mostly the history audience, the history or other streams, social science audience, so how robot will look like? So can anyone answer?
How does a robot look?
Yes.
Like a robot.
Yes. So have you seen any robot?
You've not seen any robot? How does human like?
Human like, yes. Okay, so like this, right? Yes. So and like this, right? This is Ashimo robot as well as this is Now robot. But actually most of the people, so those who are in engineering field or they know robot, how robot look like, the most of the people doesn't know the robot also look like this, right? So it is a kind of it is a replication of just our arm. Okay, if we has a arm, so we can able to manipulate, I can able to pick, I can able to place this thing, right? So one more question if I pose you. So why industry has only this arm model? Why not the whole body? Okay. In order to clarify that question, so I ask you, how much motor we require to move our arm? Can you assume? Can you guess? Sorry, can you guess? 3 motors? Okay. Usually in the robotics term, we denote the motion in a space by 6 coordinates. That is x coordinate, y coordinate, as well as the z coordinate, right? So these 3 coordinate and rotation in x, rotation in y, and rotation in z. So these 6 coordinates, right? So in order to move this shoulder joint, we need 6 motors, right? So that is a 6 coordinate. In order to have this joint, we need 6 motors, and here we have only one motion, right? In order to have this motion, we need only one motor, and here also we have again, sorry, here we can say 3 motors. So here if I don't want to translate, right, I don't want to move in x, y and z. So here I require 3 motors, here I require 1 motor, and here also I wanted to rotate this in all direction, in x, in y and in z. So I require 3 motors. So typically a hand requires 7 motors to run. So that is the hand is having 7 degrees of freedom. But again, if you think the finger, so how many motions it has? So for each, here you have some motion, here you have some motion, here you have some motion. In order to control each finger at least you require two motors, at least. So if you want to replicate same as this, you require 3 or 4 motors, but at least you require 2 motors. If you consider 2 more motors for each finger, so how much motors you require, right? So the whole hand is this much complicated. In order to build the whole humanoid, you can assume that how much complicacy involved, right? So that's why industry will more focus on this kind of robot, right? So where the picking and placing is very much necessary, and the other tasks are not that much important. Okay, but nowadays with the increasing computations or increasing the processing powers, we can use as many as motors, and we can build the humanoid like these. So Ashimo as well as this Nao robots. Okay. So then what is robot? As per Robot Industry Association, so robot is a reprogrammable multifunctional manipulator that is designed to move a materials, parts, tools or a specialized device through a variable programmed motions for a variety of tasks. So the robot can be programmed again and again, right? So that's why it is reprogrammable. So if you want to go straight, so you have to program. If you want to go right, you have to build another program like that. If you want to do different tasks, you have to provide that program. So the robot can be a reprogrammable as well as multifunctional. It can, it should be capable of doing many functions. Okay, and so many functions such as to move materials, parts or tools like that. Okay. So the robot, actually typical robot consisting of a mechanical arm. So mechanical design comes into picture there, as well as electrical actuators, the motors, we call it as an actuator. So that is electrical actuators, and sensors to respond. So in order to get the data from the sensors and all, so electronics will come into picture here. Okay, as well as intelligence to make decision. So the intelligence can be provided by the computations, right? The computer science people will dwell into this field. Okay, so as I explained, the robotics is an interdisciplinary field which is having mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, computer science engineering, as well as electronics and communication engineering, as well as nowadays biomedical engineering. Because as ma'am showed, robotic surgery is going on, right? The Da Vinci robot is doing the robotic surgery. So, and as well as medical imaging devices are also having the robot, it's a kind of robots, right? So that biomedical engineering, so prosthetic hands, so that is also, there also we require a biological knowledge as well as this mechanical knowledge. So biomedical or biomechanical engineering. So, and in recent past, we are seeing more branches coming towards collaborating with the robotics to get the new inventions. So, such as textile engineering. So, I posed here, I mentioned here textile engineering. How textile engineering is coming to robotics? Can anyone guess? So, engineering is related to robotics, or how textile engineers can work in robotics? Yes.
Maybe with the concept of fast fashion.
Okay, fast fashion. Okay, that is in order to create fast fashion, that is okay. So, but the basic thing, so you have seen the, yes, to weaving the cloth. Okay, that is the secondary application. The primary application of the textile engineering, just like you have seen Ameka, right? So it has a expressive skin, right? Skin requires some stretchiness, and also textile or material science engineering we can say. So maybe you can use a cloth-like structure which can stretch based on our facial expression or so, or you can use some different materials so that behaves exactly like a skin. So yeah, 3D printing, but Yes, so that is one of the example of this robotics, but based on the textile engineering, so this is how they were utilizing the textile engineering engineers to build the skin of the robot, okay, as well as the chemical engineering. So chemical engineering, most of the secondary things. So in order to mixing the chemicals, in order to handle the hazardous chemicals, so they were looking of different robotic aspects, and with the help of robotic engineer, they were building a machine which is required for them. So coming to the history of robots, okay, so one is the Vaucanson's mechanical duct. Okay, so before the robots or robotic terms come into picture, so this has been developed. So Vaucanson's mechanical duct, it has been developed in 1738. Okay, so it is developed by Vaucanson. So it is used to simulate the digestive system of the duct. Okay, so here if you can see here, so if I get a pointer, so here you can see different mechanical links or joints are there, so through which the duck is able to pluck by bending his neck, pluck the seeds or pluck the food, and it can chew with the help of this mechanical structure, and the food goes inside it, and the machine works such a way that it will crush the food whatever it has eaten, and it will send to the digestive system, right? So this is how they have demonstrated the digestive system of the duck in 1738. Okay, so this is one of the example, as well as this is another example, L.A. Riggs mechanical house. Okay, this is also developed in 1893. That is also before the term before the robotics term was coined. Okay, so this mechanical, there were two versions of it. So first, mechanical horse toy ride. So in 1867, in January 1867, William Goodwin of Washington DC, he has filed a patent. Okay, so on building automaton toys and hobby horses, so which can replicate the horse motion. Okay, after that in 1893, the LA Rig filed a patent for a mechanical horse that would based on the concept of Goodwin, but it can actually be ridden by a person. Okay, so which is meant to be ridden. So that is, and the object of the invention is to provide mechanical horse of convenient size, such that a person can sit on it and he can operate this horse by his feet, and the horse can move. So this is the figure shows the mechanism inside it. Okay, this is about the L.A. Riggs mechanical horse. Okay, after that in 1922, as Group CEO sir, as ma'am said, the robot term came into existence from the play, that is Rossum's Universal Robots, as well as after that in 1954, the George Devil developed the first programmable robot. So in 1945, so in order to analyze the robotics, means how it works, or so the Dynamite and Hartenberg developed some of the calculation methods in order to simplify the robotics calculations. So that is homogeneous transformation matrix they have introduced, that nowadays also that is vastly used in the field of robotics. So, and in 1962, the Unimation company was formed, so which developed the first industrial robot. So that is as Group CEO sir also said, that the robot name was Unimate. So that is the first industrial robot that developed in 1962. So next, in 1973, the Shinshinash Milacron introduced the T3 model of robot, industrial robot, which is most, at that time, which becomes most popular in industry, and that can be, that was used in the vast number of industries. Okay, later Shinshinash Milacron was acquired by the robotic company, which is presently known as ABB Robots, ABB Robotics. Okay, this is about the brief history till 1990. Nowadays, if you can see the recent developments or recent advancement are coming. So that is, so first industrial robotic manipulator has been developed, then autonomous mobile robots has been developed, as well as the robots can be used in the space in order to explore the space. That is space robots or space rovers, we can say. Then humanoid has been developed. So after the improvement in the computation capability of the computers and all, so flexible robots, soft robots come into picture, right? Soft robots, so in order to grip the different objects, just or a snake-like robot or biomimetic robots. We can say the bird-like robot, snake-like robot. Nowadays, the concept of cobots come into picture. Cobots means the multiple robots working collaboratively, right? So that is cobots. So it's a kind of robot teamwork. Okay. So the people were researching most on these topics nowadays. Okay. Then why robot is required? Okay. So if I ask you why robot is required, so it is required to reduce, first it is developed to reduce the effort of the human in order to do the repetitive task, right? So then increase the speed of the operation. So if you want to increase the speed of the operation, if you want to increase the efficiency of your industry, you can deploy a robot over there. And to work in an hazardous environment, just as I mentioned, in nuclear reactor. So where the fuel has to be inserted in that hazardous environment or in order to activate the reactor. So at that place, the robots were used, as well as some of the just like some of the mining industry, they were using robots where actually under the mine, if you go, there is a lack of oxygen, right? Lack of oxygen, and you don't know how the creatures are living inside, means what are the creatures living in that mines, abundant mines and all. So in order to detect that kind of environment, you require robots. And underwater study, if you want to study underwater things, just like after so many days, Titanic has been explored with the help of robots and all, right? It's whatever remains was discovered with the help of robots, as well as divers and all. Sorry, not skydivers, sea divers. Yeah, deep sea divers. Okay. So that is the thing. So based on this, so nowadays with the increase in computational abilities, so modern industrial robot requires high speed operations, greater payload to manipulate weight ratio, smaller actuators. Smaller actuators means less power consumption, right? And higher accuracy. These are the different examples of robotic systems. Space robots are there, and this is a flexible robot. Okay. So yes, and this is the space satellites which uses the robotic technology. Okay. So next, coming to, I will pose you a question. If you had a robot, right, what you ask it to do it for you? Batao? Okay. So yes, you say you will write your assignment. Okay. So any other example? Exams. Same. This is same as writing the assignment only. Yes. Bring you a food. Yeah. Okay. Correct the copies. Bring you a food. Okay. Any other any other innovative examples? Household works. Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. So, yes. Okay, so these are the things you wanted to do. So take care of your emails. Yes. So this is actually what chatbot is doing, right? So these are the applications of the robot which you can think of, right? So now coming to the robot applications. So these are the some of the applications you have posed. Some of the unconventional application where the robot has been used. I will show some of the videos. Okay. So robot for social services. So this is one of the most used application nowadays. So robot for social services. Just like one of the example is sewage cleaning robot. Okay. So I would like to show you a video here.
As the first Asian nation to reach the Mars orbit, the technological advancements in the field of science and economy make it one of the fastest growing nations in the world. Still, we cannot fathom a technology that eliminates the deadly practice of manual scavenging. With 80% of sewer workers dying before the age of 50, the casualty of manual scavenging is even more than the casualty of chemical orders. Despite a recent prohibition of MS Act passed in 2013, the practice of manual scavenging continues illegally. Workmen from the lower caste system are forced into this heinous profession due to the hereditary social culture which still exists in our nation. For human souls, thousands of scavengers die each year around the world, and in various scavenging situations, manholes are the well-known serial killers. The existing manhole cleaning practice requires a worker to manually position the sewer jetting machine or sewer rods, which are fed inside the manhole for sewer line cleaning. But these machines meant to unblock the sewer line are not effective in cleaning manholes, and nobody has thought of making new ones just because manholes are created for humans to clean. Yes, the existing methods of manhole cleaning are not perfect. That's why these workers need to enter manholes despite stern prohibitions by the governing body. They are forced to completely submerge into the manhole filled with toxic gases and infected liquid waste. To remove these solid wastes, to open blockage. It's no surprise that hundreds of scavengers are dying each day after being affected by various kinds of diseases like amnesia and nausea. Why can't we create a machine that will do all these jobs just like a human or better than a human? This is why we have come together to solve this problem and design something that will eliminate manual scavenging completely and carry out the sewage work more effectively than the humans. We call it Anicut. It's a robotic technology that cleans manholes more efficiently and effectively than humans. It will do all tasks, starting from removing the heavy manhole covers. Anicut can enter by converging its diameter through manholes to the unseen depths and pull out the solid waste material, which is the real reason of blockage and liquid flood, with its specially designed human-comparable robotic arm, and unblock the sewer system, which will help liquid waste to flow through sewer system as usual. This procedure is more efficient in cleaning manholes than the big sucking machines which normally suck all, which is only the effect, and create lots of road rot, leaving behind the reason for further headaches to the authorities and opens a death trap for poor scavengers. Manacut's arm,
Okay.
sewer treatment,
So
and see it go with waste.
So yes, this has been already deployed in Telangana. So that is live video showing cleaning the sewage.
They are equipped with 4 cameras and a screen to view from above. They could freeze manholes up to 13 feet in depth. There are about 30,000 manholes within GHFC limits, based on its performance and specifications.
Yes. So why I am running, because we have less time. So okay. So this is one of the thing. So another application is the assistive robots. So assistive robots in order to assist the humans. Okay. Just like this is the one of the example. It's a rewalk. So the person who is not able to walk properly, right? So he doesn't have motor skills. Sometimes some of the persons who are able to walk due to some disease, just like Parkinson and all, they were tend to fall after their motors are jammed. So that was the situation. So for those people, so these kind of wearable robots, it is called as exoskeletons that can be developed. So this is one of the assistive robots, we can call it as. So which can which can generate a torque in order to hold the person in his position. So this is through which the person can be able to climb also. Okay, so this is one of the example, and another example is in assistive robots, the person who doesn't have hands, so it's a kind of feeding robot, just like one of them has said some of the applications of robots. We can use an industrial arm to feed. So this is a till now in research phase. The actual thing, whatever we are getting in final, will be much more sophisticated than this. But yes, the research is going on this way also. Yeah. So the robot is your instruction will listen by the robots, and robot will say, yes, I have brought the spoon under your mouth, yeah, kind of thing. So it is saying I am, yeah. Jacket dressing. It's a collaborative robot task, cobots. Yes, that's true. So it is giving instructions. I am approaching your right hand. I am approaching your. I am inserting the sleeve into your right hand, like that. It is giving instructions, and based on that instruction, the person is responding. So yes, so these are the applications. Some of the new applications is to take care of elders. Okay. So though in India it is very less that the elders staying alone, but compared to other country, but still the people in the home who are left alone and who don't find any time to who don't want anyone to spend the time along with, as well as who are suffering from depression, staying alone in the home. For them, this kind of assistive robots. So this will entertain them, this will look after them, and these kind of robots will help them to bring water or so, as well as these robots will monitor their health also. If something happened to them, suddenly it will send a message to their the caretakers who are taking care of them, that something is happened, so emergency, or maybe it can dial a call to the ambulance also in that emergency. Okay, so that in that way we can say the robot can be used to save the lives also, as well as in order to take care the people, as well as in order to make them feel entertained. So these kind of assistive robots can be used. And one of the robot which you wanted, so that is this. Okay, sorry. So I will. So this is the cooking robot. Yeah. So I will go through fast. Okay, so the food is ready now. Yeah. Okay, so humanoids. So how, where you have seen the first humanoids, right? In this kind of movies, in this kind of stories, right? This is how the concept of developing a robot begins. So first in stories, the stories later came into reality. Like that, the movies, whatever we have seen the movies in the past, that is now a reality. So this is Small Wonder. So that was depicted in 80s. Nowadays, Sophia we have, right? So just like Terminator, we have humanoid robots, as well as Transformers. Transformer movie, it was a CGI based, but nowadays we are able to replicate that CGI based into a actual robot. Okay, so that is the thing. So this is the now robot, humanoid robot. This is Asimo, Sophia, and Ameka. Right. So these are the humanoids. This is also Tesla robot, the concept which was introduced by Elon Musk. So these are the motors. As well as this is the last topic, that is biomimetic robot. So inspired by biology. It is a bat robot. So these are the mechanisms. So this is underwater robot, jellyfish kind of structure, aqua jelly. This is bionic wheel bot. Which can able to roll as a wheel, also it can able to walk as a spider. And this is a smart bird. So the application of this kind of robot can, whatever you can think, that can be the application. Right, just like in Uri movie, you have seen one of the applications. Okay. So this is the robotic butterfly, and this is the robotic kangaroo developed by Festo. It can turn, it can move forward, it can jump, right? So yes, so these are the other applications: personal mobility, logistic robots, telepresence robot, power assistive, vacuum cleaning. So, and this is the last video, the bonus video. So how a robot can be inspired? A robot can be built with the inspiration of, so this is one of the thing, this robot is inspired from human intestine. Can you believe? So the large intestine of the human. So it can able to move any kind of objects, just like a cloth, as well as the solid rod kind of thing. Okay. So this is about how robotics has been evolved till now, and thank you all for listening, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Along with the questions, I will like to demonstrate to you the robots over here. So yeah, you can ask questions also in between, so that I can explain you.
Sorry to make this point short, but there is a chance that you are
Okay. Okay, then fine, okay.
We'll have to show something, right?
Yes, yes.
So, if we have quickly done through this, then others are waiting to speak as well.
Okay, so I would like to show only one demo now.
No, we can show all, but be quick, that's it.
Okay. It is obstacle detection robot. So if you find any obstacle here, okay. So now it is that obstacle program is not working. So it is moving forward. Kind of. So let us start the second robot, Milan, yours. So yours. So it is the second robot which will trace the circle. And this is the drawing robot which can be used to draw a square kind of thing. So we have programmed it to draw a square. Okay, so this is the demo. So, and the last demo. So that robot is so fast, okay? उधर से ही करो, so that okay. So it detects obstacle and it will come back.
But after it hits the obstacle, then it comes back.
No, sir. Actually, the sensor is at the front side, so it is moving side. Na side it is hitting.
When I was 5 years old, I had an aeroplane brought to me by my uncle. He used to hit obstacles and turn around and move out the other way.
Yes, yes.
It is
So,
also robotic control. in that
yes,
sense.
sir.
Yeah.
So in this robot, some refinement is needed. So
Yes.
now it is still
So
hitting
it's
the
a
wall.
kind of
Ah.
yeah,
Yes.
more like kind of a proletarian
Going
robot.
after all the red flags.
So it is autonomous robot. So it is moving automatically. No one is controlling. I just turned on. We just turned on the robot, so it is.
Sir, actually it's prepared in a very less budget and shorter period of time. That's
Yeah.
why it's not so much refined.
Right.
Yes. So that kind of thing.
So, but they've been constantly working over it.
Yeah.
Perfection takes time, like all good things.
Yes.
So how much RPM motor you are using?
Actually, here the RPM is not controlled, so that's why it's going fast. They have used the program just like on off the motor. Okay, that's why. So all right. So if you can you have if you have some questions, some.
We are really running short of time. I now request Anuva from the 4th semester of the Department of Sociology to introduce our next speaker, Professor Sudipta Paul, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronic and Communication Engineering. Anuva?
To introduce Sir, Professor Sudipta Pal is an assistant professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Sister Nivedita University. He has more than 8 years of teaching experience as an assistant professor in various engineering colleges. Additionally, he has more than 8 years of industry experiences in different organizations such as National Informatics Center, HCL Technology and Airtel. He has received his MTech and BTech degree in ECE from West Bengal University of Technology. Currently, he is pursuing his PhD degree from the Institute of Radio Physics and Electronics. His research interest areas are artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, sensor and mobile communication. He has published 8 international peer-reviewed journals. He also has published 5 patents. He is a peer reviewer in some international journals, and today his topic is how intelligent is AI. Now I will request Sir to enlighten us with his words.
Thank you. So am I audible now? Is it okay? Yes. Okay.
So you will need the microphone because streaming won't be able to catch it.
Hello. Good afternoon to Dean Sir, Mullika ma'am and Paramananda sir for requesting me for this talk. I am grateful to you. And good afternoon to all of my faculties and my dear students. Okay, so myself Sudipta Pal. So I am going to start with this topic, and this is a very interesting topic. When Mullika ma'am says me to, I have to say something about this topic. So I thought in which way I have to start, right? The first, how intelligence is AI. So still now we are want to know about the intelligence. Okay, how we can measure the intelligence, like the IQ. Okay, so we can measure for human beings. But how we can measure the intelligence for AI? Any idea how we can measure? So we can measure through some application. Already our CEO sir, Dr. Bose sir, Paramananda sir, Mullika ma'am shows all of the different kind of intelligence, kind of robots or other machineries. Okay. The first I am just briefing this one, artificial intelligence. Any idea what is the artificial intelligence? What is artificial intelligence? Yeah, anything, yeah? Yeah, so artificial intelligence is nothing but if we can build one machine that is inbuilt with some artificially intelligent like a human being. We try to build this, okay. But this is a theoretical knowledge. See, artificial intelligence is the development of computer science system that are able to perform tasks that would require human intelligence. This is very important. See, without human intelligence, it's not possible to, we can build one artificial intelligence machine, because all of the machinery, still now we show this, that all of this should be built through the human intelligence. And we have to first require the intelligence measurement for our human brains, then we can incorporate this. Next, a system that makes it possible for a machine to perform functions similar to the human intelligence. This is our dream, but not possible still now. This is our dream. If we can, in near future, we can build one machine that's a robot that is like a human intelligence, right? Next, artificial intelligence is the ability for a computer to think, learn, and simulate human mental process. This is very important, simulate human mental process. That means now the artificial intelligence come up for the emotions. Now some machines are built who can generate human-like emotions, okay? Or who can feel or recognize human emotions. Next, search perceiving, reasoning, and learning. Next is it can also independently perform complex tasks that once required human input. Any idea for the complex task? All of you know the self-driven car, right? Tesla, all of you know. This is the one example for this one, right? Next, then AI also split it in some categories, okay? First is the weak AI. Still now, we are see all of this is under the weak AI. What do you mean weak AI? Machines with the weak artificial intelligence are made to respond for specific situations, but cannot think for themselves. So if we have built one machines that can work for some specific situation, then we can say this is the weak AI, right? But all of the nowadays machine we are using is like the weak AI. Obviously we have some example of strong AI, but this is a very little. So next is the strong AI. A machine with strong AI is able to think and act just like a human. And this is near to impossible still now. That's why it is able to learn from experiences. Obviously, all of the artificial intelligence should how it can learn through the previous experiences. Next, since there are no real life example of strong AI, obviously still now human can't build a strong AI, but merely we can build some things that's yet the base representation would be self-driving cars, creative AI in arts and music. All of us know there's some controversy is going on that AI will go for some music copy for some of our renowned singer. All of you know, right? This is the little bit experience and example of strong AI. Next is the super AI. Super AI means it will suppress human intelligence and can perform any task better than human. But in bracket you see still a concept. Humans have tried to build one concept that if one artificial intelligence machinery can develop which can surpass or surpass our human intelligence, who can do anything its own brain. But obviously this is the concept. Next, this is very important. Why the interest in AI? Why? Because any idea why you are go for the AI? Because we are the human beings, we know we are the we have the most powerful intelligence in this world, but after that, why we are go for our AI tools? Any idea? This is the little bit few reasons. One is the first one is the labor. To reduce our work pressure. To reduce our work pressure. That's why labor means we are build some robots, AI robots. Next is the science. Science means in summer, suppose this picture is for the, what is robot, right? In space station. So, next is the appliances. Already Paramananda sets show some appliances also, like for cooking robots or etc. So nowadays, all of you have the washing machines, we have the AC, you have the TV, all of the built through the AI, right? AI, AC, AI, TV, all of you know, this is always based on the AI. Next is, this is very important, search engine. Obviously, we have the two example here, Yahoo and Google, but also we have the another example also. So you can see, have you see the AI application in Gmail? Have you observed? Because how mail can segregate like the primary, promotional and spam. This is based on the AI, right? Next is the medicine and diagnosis. Now we can have this telemedicine. This is totally based on the AI. And also now the disease also diagnosed by the AI machineries. And the MRI, X-ray also come up through the AI procedure. Next, what else? Everywhere we can see AI, right? Next, these are very basic things. How does artificial intelligence work? Here is the 3 basic steps. I am not going to the deep, right? The first is the programming. Obviously, programming is the basic structure for your AI. Without programming, no AI mechanism will work, right? Next is the planning. Planning also very important. How we can program, right? Planning means programs start with general facts about the world. All the AI come up with some general facts about our real life, right? Next, spatial equipment with least sensor technology. Latest sensor technology is very important because all of the robots and AI machineries is required sensors. How system can sense, right? It doesn't have any kind of, which one? Your mobile phone also, you have the lots of sensor. Which sensor you have? You are using nowadays? Proximity sensor, then touch sensor, and you are using the fingerprint lock. This is also based on the sensor, right? Lots of sensors still now we are using. And history of AI, already Mollika ma'am says, okay, and Dr. Bose sir also says, I am not going this history of AI. I just skip this one. Yeah, this is important. Artificial enhancement. This is also part of history, right? So this is not a new thing. Artificial is not a new thing. See, first if we consider the strength, tractor replace horse-drawn plow, right? And that replaced by the, for what? Which one? For human labor. Next, speed. Automobile replace the horse, that replace walking. Next, sight. Telescope and microscope enhance humans' visual capabilities. And next is the hearing. Non-electronic amplification like gramophone. Previously, when at our the childhood or maybe our time of a grandfather or grandmother, the gramophone. Have you heard the song from the gramophone? If you go to the YouTube, just go and check gramophone, right? Next, electronics amplification. Nowadays we are using, example, electronic speaker. Nowadays we are using this. So see, from the ancient area, we are trying to use the artificial things. Next, this is very important, that can a machine be intelligent? Can it think? This question is very important nowadays. Can a machine be intelligent or can machine think? What is your think? Is it possible to machine can think? Yeah. Well, for which one? You have any example for this? Yes, yes, yes. See, yeah. Thank you. See, but this one first invented and thinking by the scientist Alan Turing, and his convention is that we need not decide if a machine can think. We need not decide if a machine can think. We need only decide if a machine can act as intelligently as a human beings. Okay, intelligent is very important because this intelligent fashion, if one machine can adopt, then only you can say this machine will think, right? And this approach to the philosophical problems associated with the artificial intelligence forms the basic of Turing test. And this is important. This is the first test made by the Turing in the year of 1950, that if some machine pass through this test, we can assume this machine may be the artificially intelligent, right? And what is the Turing test? We are go for the next slide. This means the Turing test was introduced by the Alan Turing in his paper Computing Machinery and Intelligence in the year of 1950. Next slide we discuss about this. See, this is the Turing test, and this is the, you can see the from the picture, one is the interrogator, right? And who doesn't see who were bottom line? Either this is the human beings or a other computer or robot. So first one, respondent one is the, you can see one human beings. And next is the respondent two, one is the, B is a one, not a robot, this is the one computers, right? Next, a test to determine whether a computer has achieved the intelligence. And this is the basic test for the artificial intelligence. If one system can pass through this test, you can assume that this machine is a artificially intelligent. And in this test, the interrogator must determine which respondent is the computer and which is the by human. If the interrogator can distinguish, then the system will fail. But if interrogator can't distinguish between two, then system will pass. This is the very, very basic test. Okay. Next, are we there yet? This is the, because we have touched some history part also. Are we there yet? Yes. This is called the Cleverbot. You can see the conversation. Cleverbot software learns from its past conversation and has gained high score in this Turing test, fooling a high proportion of people. We are fooled by this Cleverbot that suppose we are chat with the Cleverbot, see, hi, and Cleverbot also say the hi, WhatsApp. So this is totally machine control and artificial intelligence. So sometimes system also fooled us, right? So this one, the test that Cleverbot had the basic things. Nowadays we know about the chatbot, okay? But first this Cleverbot was invented. If you go to the cleverbot.com, you can see different kind of software for this, right? Now, example of AI. Where we can use nowadays the AI. This is some few example. One is the virtual assistants. Virtual assistant, where we are using the virtual assistant? Amazon Alexa. And lots of other here, suppose you are go for some call center. You are called some call center. Now you can say it's totally based on the virtual assistant, right? Next is the autonomous vehicles. Already we know the self-driving car. Next is the chatbots. Next, e-commerce. Nowadays we are using the e-commerce like Amazon, Flipkart, all of this based on this AI. Next is recommendation system. This is very important. On this, based on this recommendation system, you know the finance also nowadays in the share market. They recommend some shares and recommendation for your song, recommendation for your some clothes, some gadgets, etc. All of this by AI. Next is the navigation apps. Nowadays we are using a GPS. This is totally based on the AI. Next, facial recognition. In our SME also, we are using the attendance system through the facial recognition. This is the totally based on the AI. Next is the text editor. Nowadays you are using sentence corrector, right? Everywhere you are using lots of things for your assignment. All of this based on the text editor and this based on the AI. Next, already Mulika ma'am says this. I will not go with this. This is the Sophia. And also this Nav robot I was the says about by the Paramandu sir. I also skip this slide. Next, what problems can AI solve? What problems can AI solve? First one is the cyber security. Why cyber security? I keep this one first because nowadays everywhere you are using the wave. We are connected through the waves. Everywhere we are connected through the internet. So this is very important, cyber security. If suppose you are using some banking credential, if this banking credential will hacked by some hacker, what happened? So nowadays it will control by the AI. And this cyber security, what is the major things about the to detecting the spam? To detecting some spam. Next is the healthcare. Healthcare is a very important sector where we are using nowadays this AI. for the different kind of medical records. For suppose we are go for the treatment, right, for the MRI, for X-rays, for ECG. Now all of the devices is controlled by the AI devices. Next is for the research, idea generation. Now AI also builds some idea, right? Next, transportation, self-driving cars. This is also based on the AI. Next, we have also other problems which is solved by the AI. See, this is the some uses and advantages of AI. This is some advantages and uses of the AI. First is the image and facial recognition. Obviously, we have one example in SNU. Total attendance system of SNU is based on this one, image and facial recognition. Except the SNU, have you any idea where you are using this application? Airports. Yes. And other? Other authentications. Yes. Mobile phones also nowadays they are using this facial expression, okay, and images, right? Next, so for the images and facial recognition, it can help make data. Obviously, it can help to make some data safer and more secure. Suppose you have some data, you have some data bank, and now only your employee, you have the organization name is A, and the employee from the organization A only can access that part, and it should be the encrypted by some facial recognition system. Then what happen? Your data will secure. It's so tough for a hacker to hack this one, right? In near future, I think you know that for our bank locker, also based on either biometric or facial recognition. Nowadays, bank will try to build some or develop some locker system which is based on the facial recognition system or biometric recognition system. Now, ATM also come up in the near future that it will build through the biometric recognition system. Next is the medical diagnosis. This is very important nowadays, medical diagnosis. Provide more exact diagnosis, detect hidden patterns in imaging, navigations and investigation, and predict how patient will respond for a specific medicines. This is very important. This one is very important because suppose you invented, one of my cousin worked for this area, that if suppose a new medicine will invented, first when go for the trial run, first you have the different kind of data, maybe you are trial for 100 of patients, for assume, and each of the patients may react in some different way. And if we can collect all the data, and near future if we apply for this medicine for a particular new patients, and you can compare the data with them, you can fetch some data that no, this is not suitable for applying the medicine for that particular patient because he or she may have this disease, right? So nowadays for the medical field also we are using, and not only that, now you know the cancer, right? For the cancer detection, nowadays we are using the AI tools. We are using the AI tools, right? Next is the customer service. Now, maximum our customer service we are using is based on the AI. All of the customer service nowadays based on the AI. Next is the recommendation system. AI content recommendation helps people say, engage and inform. Right? Suppose, I think you are, all of you listen the song nowadays, right? If you search, suppose sad song, romantic song, or etc., you can see after a while, when you search for this kind of song will come to your apps. But how is possible? It's possible through AI only. Okay. Next, obviously, any technology must have some disadvantage. And why disadvantage? Due to us only. Not for technology, because in the which way we are using this AI, though for this one nowadays in some of areas it will be disadvantageous. First one, lack of transparency. This is very important. Lack of transparency for the copyright of song nowadays. This is the question raised that if AI-based song will come off for a particular singer, then what happen? What is the copyright for that particular singer? Then that's why law have to come for AI tools. So lack of transparency, like lying about using AI. So all of you know, sometimes students are just copy some assignment portion from ChatGPT. But they are said, no, madam or sir, we are doing our own, right? So this is one disadvantageous things. Next is the biasness and discrimination. Suppose all of you know AI is based on the data. If the data already biased, then what happened? Maybe error will occur. Next is the privacy concern. This is also important. For which reason or why you are using the AI? Suppose you are using AI for hacking, right? Maybe you have lots of hacking tools which is based on the AI. So then it will have disadvantages for our society. Next one is ethical dilemmas. Obviously, when AI will come, you know ethical dilemmas. Already we are doing so, right? Sometimes we are copy from ChatGPT and we are said, no, we are creating our own, right? So this is called ethical dilemmas nowadays due to the AIs. Next is the security risk. Obviously, what is the security risk? Already lots of threats come due to the different kind of terrorists. They are using the AI tools. Hackers also, they are using the AI tools. That's why the security risks also happen for this AI. And the dependence on AI. This is very important. Dependence, gradually we are dependence on AI, right? Suppose if you think about the calculator, nothing but a simple calculator. This is not AI tools, this is a normal one computer system, right? Normal calculator. So previously what happened, our grandfather or grandmother, they are used to for some data, their own. But now we are trying to use this by calculator only, right? Same things for AI. Suppose we have some topic. First you are search for the either Google or search for the ChatGPT. What is this? We never go to library and try to find out from book that what is this particular topic, right? This is the main things for the dependence on AI, and obviously other aspect also. Next, job displacement. This is the very, very risky nowadays. Lots of job also replaced by the AI or robots, right? These some disadvantages of AI. Next, what some smart people are say about the AI, right? First is the Steve. You know the Apple co-founder, Steve? All of you know that. Says that the future is scary and very bad for people. Okay, for AI, he said that. Next, all of you know Elon Musk, all of you know. What he said? AI is a demon that is potentially more dangerous than nuclear weapons. Next part, all of you know the Bill Gates, right? What he said? I don't understand why some people are not concerned. So this is the, if AI is come up with the super AI, okay, or strong AI, this is the dangerous for themselves also, for their business also, right? Next is the, all of you know Stephen Hawking, what he said about the AI. The artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race, right? This is some smart people say about the AI. Next, this is very important because Mollika ma'am says that because we have to incorporate this one. Are they taking our jobs? What do you think? Are AI taking our jobs? See what is the report says. Industry that robots will transform by 2025. In the automotive industry, 10% of cars will be fully autonomous and many will drive themselves. Now throughout the world, 10% car already autonomous. Next, agriculture. Farm will increasingly use AI technology and big data analytics to optimize crop output. Obviously, they are using the drone for using the pesticide spray, right? And they can, suppose for the weather concern, they can analyze through the AI tools, and they are using the lots of things through the AI. This is called the smart irrigation system. Okay. And next, for the service, personal robot will take easy, dangerous, and repetitive job. Already, Paramananda sir said that. Next, I am hurry up, I have to close this session. So first is the financial also, healthcare, manufacture, aerospace, defense, everywhere we are using nowadays AI, right? Next, is your job at risk? What said? 80 million jobs in United States are at risk of being taken over by robots in next few decades. A Bank of England BOE official warned, right? This report says. Next, in a speech at the Trades Union Congress in London, the bank's chief economics, Andy Halden, said that up to 15 million jobs in the UK were at risk of being lost of an age of machines, which is around a half of the employed population for UK. Okay. Next, will we be working for robots? Yes. In near future, maybe. What is the, see, apply now for the job for the future robot helper. Maybe some post will come up for the robot helper. Already we are using some organization also. See, AI machines can learn from experiences and from the humans around them, which means that as AI takes on a growing role in workspace, a new role is opening up for the humans, the robot assistants. And where we are using nowadays? In Facebook and the startup like the Clara Labs and Interactions, all those companies nowadays, they are using the robot assistant post. Already it's happened. But obviously, if we can, we have to be responsible. That's why. How we can responsible? People should use their own creativity, not copy off of AI. This is very important. We should creative, right? And AI is just a tool for efficiency. We have to use AI tools for efficiency only. Next, put people first. We have to first recognize the creativity or intelligence from people only, not from our machines. Next, consider data and privacy goals. Minimize the unintended bias for data. When we are creating data, we never bias for this data, right? Next, ensure AI transparency, because we have to come up with some law which can control the AI machineries. If you have any question, you can ask me.
So in future, it's like roles are getting actually reversed. So we are helping.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have to leave the hall. Chancellor sir will hold a meeting. Kindly take your questions, sir.
Okay, after that you can. Okay. Thank you all of you. Thank you so much.
So I have to give Professor Madhuchanda Raichaudhuri. I request Anusha to introduce her very quickly. It's a very sad thing that we have to wrap it up, but we don't have the gift of time.
Dr. Madhuchanda Raichaudhuri is an associate professor of English at Sister Nivedita University and was the former head of the department. Earlier, she was an assistant professor at Amity University and St. Xavier's University, where she also served as the head of the department. She completed her PhD from Duquesne University, USA. Her research interests are Gothic literature, monsters and monstrosity, and British novel of the 18th century. She has published several book chapters and articles for national and international publications. Apart from regularly presenting papers at national and international conferences, she has also been invited as a resource person by Vishwabharati University and Osmania University. Now I will ask ma'am to start with her program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know I am the last speaker, so I know people are getting fidgety and hungry probably. So unfortunately, I will have to rush through my presentation. That's my title slide. You don't need to worry about that. So very quickly, the point that I want to start off with is this phrase, Frankenstein's monster, right? We are all familiar with this phrase. And if you quickly look at the dictionary definition of Frankenstein's monster, it says a thing that destroys its creator. So I thought I'd start with two implications of this particular definition, dictionary definition. So the two implications of this particular definition would be that, one, this monster is a non-human because it's a thing that destroys its creator. Number two, that it has potentially malevolent or malignant intention, that it is potentially vindictive. So therefore, the villain of the piece here becomes the monster and not Frankenstein, which we often make the mistake of thinking. And unfortunately or fortunately, in the popular parlance, Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster have really fused. We use it kind of interchangeably. And of course, with the 20th and 21st centuries, as so many of the speakers have talked about, AI, robots, technology has become this big bogey, this big Frankenstein's monster. So basically, what I've done is I tried to divide my talk into two distinct areas. One would be to debunk this idea of the Frankenstein's monster by looking closely at Mary Shelley's text and also stage adaptation. And the second part is to kind of situate Mary Shelley within the context of the scientific developments that were going on in the 18th and 19th century to understand why and how this whole business of the Frankenstein's monster came about at all. So, just to start with, this is the broad area. So I'll be delving a little deeper into the text, and I hopefully will have time to analyze some sections of the text. The other is a very interesting 2011 stage adaptation of the novel by Danny Boyle. You all know Danny Boyle, right? Slumdog Millionaire, the director of Slumdog Millionaire. And he made and Nick Dear, they adapted the novel for the stage. So I'll hopefully have time to show some snippets of some videos from that stage adaptation. And finally, I'll set it all up within the context of the scientific developments. So, if I go to the first slide, I start with the scene in the novel where Frankenstein is creating what we have now come to know as Frankenstein's monster. There are a couple of interesting things that I want to point out, which people who are not familiar with the actual original text often miss, which is, we often make the mistake of thinking that Victor Frankenstein wanted to create a human being and then it all went awry. No, he never did that. He said, I want to create a new species that will bless me as its creator and its source. Automatically, what we get to understand is Victor's pride, hubris. Next, he said, I selected his limbs. So basically what he did was he went into the graveyard, he cobbled together this massive 8-foot being, and he selected the limbs so that they would look beautiful. So his intention was to craft perfection. Okay? And the third thing is, when he has cobbled this thing up, and it's the last stage where he's supposed to infuse life into it, he says, and note what the part that I've highlighted, so that I might infuse a spark of being into the lifeless thing that lay at my feet. So at the very outset, it is Victor Frankenstein who is dehumanizing this creature and who is also wants to dominate this creature. In other words, he is trying to play a demigod. And with that, I want to go over and show a snippet of the video from the play adaptation, and it's a very interesting video because it gives us a very different, slightly different take on this creation scene. So I'll just skip. Yeah, okay. So just notice the opening scene. I'm just fast forwarding the video. I wish I could show more of it to you. But just look at this for 2 minutes. Let me increase the sound. Zyada. I'm not sure if you can hear the background sound. It's okay. This struggle will go on for a while, so I'm just fast forwarding it. I wish I had the time to show you the entire struggle, but I don't. Just notice the movements. I'm fast forwarding it, unfortunately. It's finally got up to its feet, but it's staggering, right? Okay, I'll just stop. Even though I'm tempted to go on, I'll just stop. Okay, so let's notice right away how this play adaptation subverts many of the implications of the original text. First of all, what did Frankenstein do with the original text? Dehumanize the creature. Here, you see that giant sac, which almost looks like a disembodied womb. Secondly, what you see in the background, if you could hear, unfortunately the sound wasn't that clear, if you hear it with your headphones, you would that background thumping sounds like a giant heartbeat, as though it's literally a life coming into being, right? A giant heartbeat juxtaposed with the flashes of electricity, right? I'll come back to that juxtaposition in just a bit. Secondly, what we feel is that this creature, as it staggers, first crawls, almost crawls, then staggers, it's almost like an infant crawling and then staggering up to its feet. So once again, the idea of a non-human is getting debunked, right? Now, so unlike the text where Frankenstein stares at the creature as it opens its coat, dull yellow eyes, breathes hard and convulses, here the creature comes to life all alone. There is no Victor Frankenstein around. Therefore, what this scene again flags is the creature's eventual destiny, which is desolation, absolute isolation, right? Also, to come back to this business of why, so can I go back to the slide? Yeah. Okay. Also, to understand why this juxtaposition of heartbeat and the flashes of electricity, this kind of goes back to a central scientific debate that was going on in the 18th and 19th century especially, which is the debate between this fellow, John Abernethy, and somebody called William Lawrence. Now, they had two very different takes on the origin of life. William Lawrence said, we human beings are just an amalgamation of our parts. In other words, we are like a machine. So that was called the mechanistic theory of the origin of life. Against that, we have John Abernethy, who says that you can't explain life in such a mechanistic way. And he says a mysterious superadded force was needed. Some subtle, mobile, invisible substance was required. He never named that substance, but he said very interestingly, this substance is analogous on the one hand to the soul, on the other hand to electricity. So what the stage adaptation is very interestingly doing is juxtaposing the two things, the flash of electricity, right, and the womb. So the mechanistic and the vitalist point of view of the origin of life are getting juxtaposed. So the stage adaptation is very interestingly playing into or implicitly commenting on the debate, the scientific debate out of which Mary Shelley's text was born. Okay? So next I go to this very evocative scene. Again, sir, if I can just play 1 minute of the video, where the creature is abandoned by Victor Frankenstein. This one. If you go to 1050, it's not showing. Wait, I'll fast forward to this part. Okay. This is where Victor Frankenstein has encountered the creature.
No. Keep away. No. Do as I say.
Okay, just stop. So, in the text, I've just quoted from the text, this is what Frankenstein says. I beheld the wretch, the miserable monster whom I had created. He held up the curtain, he fixed his eyes on me, his jaws opened, and he muttered some inarticulate sounds while a grin wrinkled his cheeks. He might have spoken, but I did not hear. One hand was stretched out, seemingly to detain me, but I escaped. And in this play adaptation, he says, no, keep away. You do as I say. So who is creating the monster? He's not born a monster. Even before he can utter even an articulate sound, Victor has already branded him as the monster. Not based on anything that he has so far done, except for the fact that he does not look as beautiful as Victor had envisioned him. He looks hideous. Victor wanted to make him perfect because, and again, I don't have the time to quote that passage, but he had actually chosen pearly white teeth, black, long, lustrous hair, and so on and so forth. So he wanted to create perfection. Instead, he gets this. And obviously, the stage adaptation, you know, the famous image of Frankenstein's monster with all those stitch marks and so on and so forth. So quickly, going on to the next scene. So once again, what we see here is the fact that the scientist's ego, his hubris, and his potential tyranny are highlighted when he rejects the creature. The next part, this video, unfortunately, I don't think I'll have the time to play the entire section that I wanted to. So I'll have to truncate. This is the section where Victor Frankenstein and the monster first come face to face. And just to give you a background, at this point the monster has already killed Victor Frankenstein's youngest brother. Okay? So Frankenstein is already raging. Frankenstein is already raging and ranting. Okay? So what is interesting, and again, since I don't have the time, I can't go into the detail. But what is interesting in the novel is that in this particular scene, it was the rational scientist who was raving and ranting, and the creature in the novel is speaking with perfect, with perfect logic, perfect equanimity. But what I wanted to highlight here is a different thing, especially Frankenstein's remarks. So let's go to 52, wait. And now just carefully listen to Frankenstein's response.
Muscular coordination, hand and eye, the perfect balance. An excellent tissue reverse sutures availed. I failed to make it handsome when I gave it strength and grace. What an achievement! Unsurpassed in scientific endeavor, my God. Madness of that night. The heat, the sweat, the infusions. The moment I saw it scroll towards me, and I ran away. What you abandoned me. It speaks, Frankenstein. It speaks.
Yes, Frankenstein, it speaks. Because he has dehumanized it. And dehumanized creatures don't speak. The very fact that it speaks marks that it is human.
Journal, why did you abandon me? I was terrified that you wasn't like that. Built a man and given him life. Now I have
You built a man and given him life, that's what the creature says.
Kill me then. Why did you create me to prove that I could? So you make sport with my life, the cause of science. You are my greatest experiment, but an experiment that has gone wrong. Experiment that must be curtailed. Oh, I can't listen to me. It is your duty. I have no duty to a murderer. I am a murderer. You made me. You killed my brother. You did it, not me. I curse the day you drew breath. Since then I've lived in darkness. Is this the region? Is this the soil of the cloud?
Okay, sorry, I don't have time to play the whole thing. I wish I could. But basically, the creature quotes from Paradise Lost. And he says, I should have identified with Adam, but I identified with Satan because you abandoned me, my creator. And because of my hideous appearance, I was so brutally treated by society that I turned into this vindictive thing. Okay, so therefore, what this scene is very interesting, why this scene is very interesting, and this scene is also kind of different from the novel, slightly different from the novel. Unfortunately, I don't have time to get into that. So, it challenges, therefore, the definition of the monster, and I'm just throwing out a couple of definitions. Monster as one who deviates from the normal or acceptable behavior or character. Monster is a person of unnatural or extreme ugliness, deformity, wickedness or cruelty. Ugliness, deformity we can understand, but again that was not his own creation. Wickedness or cruelty, was it his own doing or was he compelled? So, and secondly, is he an automaton then? Because if we again look at the definition of automaton, it is a machine that operates on its own without the need of human control, or a moving mechanical device made in imitation of human being. None of these definitions fit, which is why is he a creature? Is he a human? What is he? He doesn't fit into a box, and that is the problem. That is why he is Frankenstein's monster. Not because he is monstrous, not because he is automaton, but because he doesn't fit. We don't have a definition for him. Okay, so now very, very quickly going into some of the scientific developments during Mary Shelley's time. One, of course, is the very idea, and unfortunately I don't have time to read from the quote, but this is Sir Humphrey Davy. And what is happening with the various developments in science in the late 18th and early 19th century is that the very perception of the scientist is changing from just a passive scholar to an active creator and an inventor. So just to flag some of the things that Humphrey Davy says, he says science has given the scientist, it has almost made him creative, and it has given him the power to be master, active with his own instruments. Okay? So, given this context, I want to highlight just two experiments. One was the kite experiment by Benjamin Franklin. Once again, very briefly, if I can show 2 minutes or 1 minute of the video. So Benjamin Franklin basically discovered that the source of thunder is basically electricity. What we call thunder is basically electricity, and he harnessed that power. So on this one, this one. So I'll just quickly forward it to 158.
Or sunshine of heaven. The battle between or sunshine is no more supernatural than the rain, hail, or sunshine of heaven. The battle between superstition and science that defines the age.
Franklin was very much part of the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment was based on the idea that there are natural explanations for the phenomena of nature.
I think Franklin was finally pounding the nails into the coffin of superstition. This was at a time when lightning was still considered by many people to be God's vengeance.
To test his theory, a specially adapted kite with a metal wire at the top and a metal key at the base. Let's go. All right, where you go? There you go.
So you see what he's doing is that he's trying to see whether the thunder is channeled through that key, that metal, right?
Benjamin Franklin, in search of the secrets of lightning, helping unlock the keys to our electric world. From clouds, static electricity. You'll find it streams out perfectly from the key at the approach of your home. The first proof that lightning is electricity.
Okay, I'll just stop the video unfortunately because I don't have time. So what he does is that, so he could have been killed, right? But he doesn't because the electricity is diverted. The metal attracts the electricity. And this becomes the bedrock for his invention, very practical but very important invention of the lightning rod, which is what you put, if you have it at the top of your building, it's the lightning rod that attracts the electricity from the thunder and pushes it down conducts it down to the ground so that the house is intact. So this is the example of a scientist seemingly performing something supernatural. So the idea that the clear barrier between the science and the supernatural, the scientist and the wondrous magician is blurring. And it is at this juxtaposition, at this crossroad that we find Victor Frankenstein. Okay, the next is how can scientists create scientific horrors? And this is where I come to the final slide, experiment of Giovanni Aldini. Now Giovanni Aldini is the nephew of Luigi Galvani. You all know Galvani? Galvani is the person who, conducted electricity through the muscles of a dead frog and made it move. Aldini tried that same experiment on a human corpse, okay? And he tried it on a recently executed murderer, okay? But the point is, what was the impact? And he tried it, mind you, at the Royal College of Surgeons. So there are scientific audience as well as lay people, but this is what happens. Sir, the last video. So again, I'll have to really kind of skip.
Frankenstein experiment that tried to bring a murderer back from the dead, but wound up killing a man instead.
Again, fast forwarding it mercilessly. This murderer was not cut into pieces. Instead, he was delivered over to to Aldini to perform his experiment. So just fast forwarding, right there. Galvanism, we all know. We don't need to go into that. Okay.
January night, a number of doctors and curiosity seekers gathered in an operating. Word had spread that Giovanni Aldini would attempt to raise the dead.
Giovanni Aldini would attempt to raise the dead.
By connecting conducting rods to a powerful battery. It then carefully applies the electrified rods to Foster's face. Slowly the jaw begins to quiver, and the muscles of the face contort into a grotesque grimace. The audience watches with a rising mixture of fear and intrigue. Then suddenly Foster's left eye pops open. With a terrified gasp, many in the crowd leave. What happens next is so horrifying that it literally scares a man to death. Aldini uses a conducting rod to probe Foster's body. Suddenly the corpse clenches its fists and punches the air. Its back arches violently, legs kicking back and forth as if trying to outrun its eternal damnation. The body clanging against the metal operating table mixes with the screams of onlookers to produce a morbid cacophony that echoes throughout the operating theater. Mr. Pass, who secured the body of George Foster, is so disturbed, so shocked, so horrified, he has a heart attack, going to his own grave believing that he had helped bring someone else back from theirs. Aldini would continue his experiments, touring the globe, becoming world famous, and inspiring Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. He also developed a small battery for the...
Right. So, concluding very quickly, what does the novel tell us then? The novel, I suppose, tells us that the onus really is on the scientist. So Frankenstein's monster is created by Frankenstein, and whether he's a monster or an automaton or a creature, the owner is ultimately on Frankenstein. And secondly, if we look at the etymological idea of the monster, one of the functions of a monster is to warn. So if the novel is warning us of something, it is warning us of what terrors and horrors we can invite when we stray from the straight path of humanity. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Rai Chaudhuri. I think we can all agree this was a deeply insightful, deeply thought-provoking discussion. I understand that there was extreme paucity of time. I'm very sorry for the question that I could not allow. 3:30, we exactly have 5 minutes, and all I can do at this point is the vote of thanks. Unfortunately, our Dean of Social Sciences, who would be immediately caught up in the next meeting, has opted out of giving the valedictory because clearly of the paucity of time. We hope we can have his insights on another occasion. But for now, I must deliver the vote of thanks, which is both my honor and privilege. On behalf of the Department of History and Robotics and Automation Engineering, it is of extreme privilege and honor to deliver the vote of thanks. None of this would have been possible without the support of Honorable Chancellor Sir Shri Shottam Rai Chaudhuri, alongside Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, who flagged off today's event, Professor Dr. Dhrubajyoti Chattopadhyay, who has been a source of immense guidance and support to both the conveners of this conference. I would like to extend my gratitude to our Registrar Sir, Shri Shuman Chatterjee, his team, the IQAC members, the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Rukhit, our teacher in charge, Dr. Pradeep Dattagupta, the Administrative Officer, especially Colonel Dhrubajyoti Chondo, and his team of extremely astute admin and housekeeping staff. We've all seen the effort they've put in along with our extremely adroit group of student volunteers. A big round of applause to all of them. I am deeply humbled by the support we've received from the Department of Mass Communication, the photographers, the videographer, the Facebook live streaming team upstairs on 5th floor. So I must extend my gratitude to Dr. Meenal Parikh, the director of everything that's to do with media and publicity in our
varsity. Apart from that, I'd like to also thank Mr. Udit Sengupta for creating a very aesthetically elegant creative. I would like to extend my thanks to the support of deans of our respective schools, Professor Dr. Shanku Bose, Professor Surajit Mukhopadhyay. Shanku Bose sir's lecture was deeply insightful and it has enriched our understanding of the history of the automaton. I would additionally also like to thank the former dean of social sciences, when we were part of humanities and social sciences, Professor Dr. Shubir Dhar, who had helped us conceive the germ way back in the summer of 2023. I'm extremely grateful to all our invited speakers, Professor Dr. Madhuchanda Rai Chaudhary for a deeply provocative lecture on the myriad understandings and the ramifications about Frankenstein's monster. A huge round of applause for her, please. Professor Sudipta Paul has opened up new avenues of understanding the workings of AI. Thank you so much, sir. Another round of applause for him as well. A special mention to my colleague and co-convener of the symposium, Dr. Parmanand Nandihal, who has been a source of enabling support and great patience and something that I must aspire to learn from him. A huge shout out also to his enduring and deeply committed cohort of students who have spent days and nights at SNU working on the demonstration. I hope some of my students here imbibe their spirit of being committed to whatever craft they are dedicated to. I'm deeply touched and overjoyed to see such a steady stream of support from my esteemed colleagues, some of them who've taken time out of their heavy, hectic schedule to be part of this symposium. Without their support and love, the event would have been lackluster. Finally, the event could not be pulled off had it not been for the love, participation, and support we've got from our students across various departments: psychology, sociology, political science, digital marketing, BBA students. Otithi, your department? The back pore niche. Acha, theek hai, paramedical, statistics. If there is any department I'm not mentioning, please accept my apologies. Thank you so much for all the support I've got from all of you. Thank you. May God bless you. Have a good evening, and may the SNU family continue to grow stronger and grow with each passing day. A small request, since the housekeeping will be immediately coming in, they have